Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Let me see if this button works. Ah, fantastic. The music is here. Welcome in, everyone, to an undeniably good time where we're going to hang out and look at some new stuff.
Exciting stuff.
Woo.
Exciting path. Oh, that's just off screen. Oh, that's perfect. The laptop is right off the screen.
Now they know there's a laptop.
No,
dude.
it's almost like we're immersed, and I'm just reading from the ancient texts off to the side. If you couldn't see the whole corner of the keyboard right
would have
here,
been.
if it weren't for all of this part right here, just ruining everything.
Nobody looks there.
It's just a cluster of black nothingness. It's fine.
It's just the void. The void is encroaching upon my table. So, I haven't looked at this class literally at all. And these three people barely play Pathfinder. So,
First of all,
One time.
offended. Offended.
when was the last time you played Pathfinder?
I'm sure it was at some point.
A week ago with you.
It happened. For us, it was a week ago with you.
When was the last time that you played Pathfinder?
In the one shots for like my friends.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Well, we were putting on some just one shots at level. So you've done a couple level one shots. Like you've done probably like two of them in the last 4 months.
That's on my resume. That's considered an experienced Pathfinder.
It can be dramatically more than the last 4 months. You've done two of them in the last, I think, probably like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Since
That's more than me.
We're
Like,
in
you've
there.
got
We're on the
numbers
board.
on
Sounds
me.
like a
We're on the
professional
board.
to me.
So on my resume, it would say experienced Pathfinder 2+ years.
Are you
You
certified?
put whatever you
Right.
want on the resume, and you just hope nobody calls you on it. Like that's the point
I'm
of a
Bryn's
resume. though.
agent, and I represent a professional Pathfinder.
I'm her
Okay,
reference. I'm
okay.
her first reference.
Well, let's see how much of this sounds like it is written in English to you guys, and I'm super curious to see how this comes across rules-wise, and I'm curious to see what a couple of almost entirely non-Pathfinder brains, and one you get a Pathfinder brain.
Experienced.
Whoa.
We
My
just went over
client.
this. Go, give me a call. I'll say so many nice things about Bryn. You'd have to hire her.
Let me go. We did audio before the stream, obviously, but when we do audio check, Bryn screams as loud as she can, which is about this volume right
I've
here.
been talking
Oh
so
my God.
loud. I just remembered now.
I need to go turn you up dramatically further. So like give
Talk loud.
can you talk loud? Can you?
Super loud. This is that's pretty loud. Look, I'm getting into orange.
Can you talk like that the whole time that we're going over the Kineticist playtest?
100% guarantee, or I will buy you.
You are she's staring at the audio levels right now. Struggling so hard to get into yellow. She is complete contact where we can see the stream set up. She, like the strength test at the circus, swinging as hard as she possibly can to just get into the yellow. I'm gonna turn you up.
That bell is not yet wrong.
Is it not really rude to talk super loudly all the time?
What do you mean super loud? I'm just able to hear you.
He just hit the yellow.
Well, you guys are like super far away. So like, yeah,
Hello.
I've been reading your lips for an
Give you
hour.
like 4 decibels and maybe you'll be audible now.
Okay.
So, before we get into this, I see Manshaw's here, which is hilarious for going over the Kineticist playtest. This man has far more Kineticist experience than all 4 of us put together, which again is literally just me. But
Open chat on my phone. I can't see that far.
that's why I have my phone right here.
Oh my goodness, you're a genius.
You- That's what
She's
this
tweeting
is.
about it right now. Look
This
at
is
her.
the
It's
chat.
somebody
This is
asking
the
if you
chat
can.
panel.
I can't read the name, but somebody asked if Bryn could move her mic closer.
No, it's okay. That's when we turned her up a lot. Will Oktar be proud?
I can just read the
I'm
white.
telling you, your vision is garbage. Your vision is terrible.
You have like eagle eyes.
No, she has 20/20 and you're freaking blind. We like
That's incredible.
I literally have a bad eye. I'm not
We-
good at seeing.
I think it's
We-
just 271.
we took
Thank you,
Bryn to an optometrist because she's blind. She's completely blind.
2020 full of stigmas.
My mistake was going to the optometrist at Walmart because I'm lazy and I usually just go to the optometrist at Walmart and it's usually good enough. I've never been to
Good
the one here. The one here gave her 20/20 vision, so I assume that he's also blind. And
Maybe I'm just really good at test taking. Have you ever
Did you
considered
did you study the eye board so that you knew what the letters were?
When she walked into
she
the
was
office, she's memorizing.
Google image searching all of the possible layouts and just using the top couple
Out
lines
of
to
29
figure
possible
out.
combinations.
So, Pathfinder, for you three and anybody else who might be curious, pretty regularly comes out with new classes. I have no idea how many classes there are in second edition at this point. I would guess 20-ish is probably about where we are.
Wow.
Sure.
And they do these in more or less betas first that are called playtests, where they release a very streamlined, pared down version of the class that goes 1 to 20. It's got options for 1 to 20, but only like a quarter of the options the actual full class will have. Just to give you, well, it's literally a playtest. You can run this. You can take this into a Pathfinder game. You can see how it functions, and then you can give them a bunch of feedback on your experiences and what you have discovered messing with what mechanics it has. Previously, we've had a bunch of playtest classes that have come through. I feel like I'm just going to prepare you all mentally. On the whole, they tend to be conservative. They err towards the side of making sure that they don't release anything insanely overpowered out into the world. Sometimes to the point of being a bit debilitating. The Investigator and the Magus playtests, where I would go so far as to say very underwhelming. Magus didn't do anything and it was very sad. But both of those ended up being full-bodied and super cool classes when they came into their actual full releases. So these playtests are incredibly useful, and I'm really curious to see how what is basically, y'all watch Avatar?
Yeah.
Like Airbender,
Yes.
not blue people.
Yes.
Yes.
Excitedly for that one, yes.
This is I could feel the
Used to be,
excitement.
Like the only show I watched on TV. I'm talking loudly and into
Yeah, and you're talking like this. You go over here. You have to revolve around the microphone. You can't sit here and just turn side to side. You have
You've
to.
been on this show longer than I have.
This is the same introduction that I got, and this is my third stream.
My resume
Emily
was
just-
lies.
Yeah, like every resume in America, she just puts stuff
Yeah.
on there to get the job. So, we do what we can.
Oh, man.
I need to am I? Oh man, I got a good seat because that means I don't have to do this.
Oh yeah, this is Bryn's seat for not dead yet.
For things in the
For
future.
things that will
probably.
be announced eventually.
But this is basically that. In Pathfinder First Edition, this was a very similar vein of fantasy. A kineticist is a person who can manipulate the flow of elements. I don't even remember if it was technically magic. I mean, it is to an extent, but the flavor, like the hard-written lore, isn't like you are magically conjuring fire. It is you are literally pulling fire out of the plane of fire and throwing it at people. So, or earth, or air, or water, or whatever.
What does
So,
that have to do with kinetics?
You're a pyrokineticist, or you're an aqua kineticist, or
Bryn, I'm begging you. Bryn, I'm begging you.
Kineticist with the whole screen, and I'm a boomer, guys. You guys can't judge me on your young standards.
How old are you?
Oh my god, okay.
You don't look a day over 95.
Right? Where?
Friends at least like 80 on the inside. We've covered
You
this.
gotta give me some time.
I'm pretty sure she is actually just a night hag, and that she drinks the blood of young women to keep this. Solely, by the way, this is your warning, to keep her youthful appearance.
Oh, man.
More specifically, nerds recently. So I don't know, man.
Drinking nerd blood.
Yeah.
It's full of Mountain Dew.
Their
Help, which is buzz over here.
their theme and their flavor in first edition was pulling out these elements being like pyrokineticists, hydrokineticists, whatever an eartha kineticist is called.
Terra?
Terra kineticist sounds good to me. That's probably right. I'll go
It's
with it.
canon now.
It's either right or it's probably cooler than what it actually is.
Named after Toph.
And not only could you generate and throw those, you could also, of course, manipulate what was there in the actual environment around you. So you could pull out the bending. You could use the water from a lake or a river. Higher level aquakineticists could use people's blood. You
Ooh,
can get
very, very Avatar.
It's a Halloween episode.
you can. It got pretty crazy, and Kineticist went beyond those basic elements and got into higher tier like combination elements. So you could be like a metal kineticist. You could be a void kineticist who manipulates like antimatter. I'm pretty sure there was a gravity kineticist.
That sounds sick.
They got crazy wild.
That's
They were
dope.
all over the place. I don't think we're gonna have all of that in the playtest. Were I to guess, it's probably your basic 4. The air, wind, fire, earth,
Wind, fire, and breath, of course.
Air, wind, tornadoes, and flying. The 4 elements.
Can you imagine a breath medicine? I think I move.
You got like a balloon. Like you have to make.
But their core mechanic was the longer they sat there and focused and screamed really loud, the more elements they could pull into this Giga Blast, and the stronger it would be, and the more things they could
So
do
it's
with it.
Avatar, and then you can do like a Kamehameha, like
Pretty much.
blast.
Yes, very literally, yes. You could, like, what would be the equivalent of 2 actions, a standard action in Pathfinder 1, just like throw a bolt at somebody. Or you could forego all of your actions, do a full round, channel, and throw a big bolt at somebody. Or you could literally stand there, stance up, scream for 6 seconds. That's your whole turn. Your next turn, you're still screaming, you pull all that in, and you throw a turbo nuke at somebody over the course of 2 rounds.
Wow, so you do like a next time on Dragon Ball
You
Z.
literally do like next turn. Next turn, it's
No,
coming.
just you wait.
You get very ready for things. But is your mic literally off? Just fix the problem, don't worry.
Okay, first of all, you see how I was trying so hard. See, that means I must have been picking up on your thing, which means that I was actually talking very loud. This is unfair. I take back my Taco
think
Bell
while you
offer,
were
and you
moving-
owe me Taco Bell
When you were
now.
moving your mic, you might
I
have
did
hit
not.
the switch, did you?
I did not. I did not. I did not.
We're a professional show.
Yeah.
Oh.
On my resume, it says that I have never turned a microphone off. And so that could not
We
have
know
happened.
Everything on the resume is true. We've established that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I represent.
Representative
I want to
also.
represent someone else because your reputation is going to start tanking too.
I can't believe.
This is. I feel discriminated
We're
against.
having an undeniably good time now, right? But, oh, what a masterpiece. What an absolutely beautiful disaster. So,
I'm cool.
Are you cool?
I'm cool
the
now.
other main mechanic was they could pull out other powers or sometimes like hasten these abilities. You could throw a supercharged thing faster by effectively punching yourself in the face. You could overdraw your abilities, which would cause you a bunch of damage. That damage scaled with level, so it was never insignificant. If you were level 20, you would just take a crap ton of damage, and that damage could not be healed in any way other than by a full night's rest. And between this big charge and this overdraw mechanic, you had this core that made the Kineticist a super unique and interesting class. So, in second edition, I have no idea how that's going to be represented, and I'm super curious to see. And the very top of the page, let me read their little blurb here. The power of the elements flows from within you. Roaring fire, pure water, fleeting air, steadfast earth. An inner gate inextricably tied to your body channels power directly from the elemental planes, causing elements to leap to your hand, whirl around your body, and blast foes at your whim. As your connection to the planes grows, you attain true mastery over your chosen elements.
I didn't hear breath.
Yeah, I didn't hear breath either.
I didn't hear a single breath.
I think breath is categorically fleeting air. That's like a breath.
Okay.
Just
What
got
about
the-
wind? Did you go over wind?
I didn't see tornado either.
Or breeze? A nice summer breeze? Was that on there?
The one thing I know about this class is the thing at the very top of the page, and that is that their key ability is Constitution. Kineticist is the first class to have Con as their primary stat, which means that the thing that they derive, I imagine, probably their attacks and their damage from is the same thing that you get your hit points out of. So I will be extremely surprised to not see some variant of the overexert yourself and punch yourself in the face mechanic return, seeing as we are basing them off of health. But that's kind of counteracted by the fact that they only have 8 class hit points per level. which is
How many do they normally have? Or how many other classes?
8's like rogue tier. It's right above wizards and sorcerers getting 6.
So in Pathfinder, when you level up, do you have a set number of hit points you go up each level?
Yes, every level you get additional hit points equal to your class hit points level, so you'll get 8 from your Kineticist plus your Constitution modifier.
Got
And
it.
sometimes you can get other bonuses from feats like things like toughness. Generally is like a pseudo +1 to your con. But that's your scaling. They're gonna be getting like roguish hit points a level. Fighters get 10, barbarians get 12, wizards and sorcerers get 6. So this is just like right above the full caster bucket.
Is this like an oracle tank? Because like, is that similar with oracles?
I don't know. We will find out. So they divide a lot of these class presentations as far as like the flavor and the overview into 4 sections. What you might do in combat, what you might do in a social encounter, what you might do while exploring, what you might do with downtime. In combat, elemental magic surges from you without limit, without any restrictions on how often you can use your abilities. You are a reliable slinger of magic. You can develop powers you can use in a variety of situations, or you can choose just a few favorite attacks that you spam repeatedly. During social encounters, the elements you channel might guide or even influence how you carry yourself. You might leap to anger like a raging fire, stand your ground solid as a mountain, keep your motives elusive as the wind, or go with the flow like water. While exploring, your innate connection to the elements hones your awareness of the natural world. And I do see that you always start trained in nature. You can't be untrained in nature as a kineticist, which makes logical sense. You're pulling out all the natural elements, right? In an environment full of an element you can channel, you are unparalleled with the ability to repeatedly manipulate the element around you. And in downtime, you might commune with the elements or practice your control over your kineticist powers. Through retraining, you can realign the flow of your inner gate to perfect different manifestations of your element.
Wait, so you can change from like a waterbender to an earthbender?
I mean, via retraining rules, you can train from literally anything to literally anything.
I guess that makes sense.
So you focus on one element at a time.
I'm not sure. Well, it does seem to imply the thing at the beginning, you can develop powers using a variety of situations. You can choose a few favorite attacks. Does still sound like it might fall into one channel. It sounds like you might, and that's largely it wasn't first edition. That was kind of the Kinesis subclasses, is what elements you were taking.
Yeah.
You could take more as you leveled, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet. They are experts in fortitude and reflex. They are poor at will saves, so their magic and mental resistance is their weakness there. They get trained only in simple weapons and unarmed attacks, which makes sense because their main attacks are probably going to be these elemental blasts. And they can only effectively use up to light armor. So we are in an interesting bridge.
Yeah, what the heck? Okay, so
between
they have a lot
caster
of
and physical.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck?
You get a lot of constitution. You don't get a ton of class hit points. You don't get armor.
Maybe it's like depending on the element you get, you go
That's very
more heavy one.
possible.
Like an earth elemental would be way more like physical.
This
The
is
fire
physical?
one. You get physical. You say everything's
That's how
okay.
you earn that. You just flex and then rocks shoot out of your pecs.
Yeah. Yeah. But it also sound effect, I would say, required.
Yeah, you have to do the every time.
Yep.
You say everything's okay.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, let's look. Oh, we got a bunch of new kineticist terms that I might have to scroll back up and look at later. But as a kineticist, your first thing that you're going to be picking with your class, you've awakened or opened a supernatural conduit within your own body that can channel elemental forces straight from the elemental planes. Choose whether this inner gate is a dedicated gate connecting to a single elemental plane, a dual gate connecting to 2, or a universal gate connecting to all. This determines how many different elements you can channel and how many bonus impulse feats, which are special kinesis feats that let you shape and wield elements, you will get at first level. So you can have one up to literally all 4 of them.
You can choose to
at
be the
level 1.
avatar
You can be-
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What would you go with?
I mean, avatar.
What the heck? Are you kidding me?
I want to be the protagonist. Yes, I want to.
Okay, well, first of all, Toph was the protagonist
Yeah.
of the entire show.
Did you know she doesn't show till season 2? I'm sorry to derail. Did you know she doesn't show till season 2?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when I rewatched the show. I was like, when's Toph showing up? And then book 2
Well, they
starts,
have
and I
to
was
go
like, oh.
all the way through the water episodes and go to the him trying to learn earthbending. So the first book is called the Book of Water or whatever.
Okay, well, when you say it like that, it makes perfect sense. But I wanted Toph now. So
Toph is the best.
How recently have you rewatched Avatar?
when it first came onto Netflix is the last time I watched it.
Oh, that was
A year
fairly
ago.
recently. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I've only seen it one time through, and that was my freshman year of college. So I don't have I only saw it to one time.
So
I'm a hardcore. Wait. So you would be Avatar.
I go Avatar.
What would you do?
That's such a hard question.
you can have one,
These are
2, or
life
4.
choices. These are life choices you're gonna have to make.
Right. See, but Toph was my favorite, but I don't think that I want to do Earth. I think I would choose
I could
water.
take Earth for you. I could always take Earth.
Water and air. That's really where I said.
Okay. Well, I would go Earth. I'm down with Earth.
Well, this brings me back to a previous unrelated conversation from my own stream many years past about if I was a Pokemon gym leader, what I would end up as. And I'm pretty sure we landed on water. But I don't know if that's more related to just most of the Pokemon I like end up being water type.
But you like
But-
Heracross is your favorite, right?
I do. I mean, I like Heracross. I don't know what my single favorite is.
You don't know. You have to do some
Heracross is, in your top?
self-exploring.
What?
The Heracross is in your top Pokemon?
My top probably 10ish. Yeah. I mean, I like
don't
him.
like that little beetle.
I like him less than Pinsir. Mega Pinsir is my boy. Mega Pinsir and me.
Why aren't you a bug type then? You've named 2
Yeah.
bug types.
Well, they're both also fighting.
Yeah, but why?
mean,
Why
Mega
didn't you
Pinsir's
do
flying.
either of those gyms then? Why'd you land in water?
Because I like
I like water.
Primarina is super cool. Which you didn't see that one coming, did you?
What
That
was it?
Primarina, totally out of left field. What was that? The Sun and Moon water
you said
starter?
Purina, like the
I hated
farms.
Sun and Moon, so I didn't play. Hot take. I'm so sorry. I
That's
hated
the
Sun
hottest
and Moon.
take. Sun and Moon is the best, of the tradition. This is hugely derailing.
we are
This is going to
hugely
become
derailing.
Pokemon and Avatar, and it's going to.
But that's, is that a problem? We have.
How long is
things
this
to
playtest? We're probably
like
fine.
nothing.
We'll figure it
All
out.
right, hang on. Let's get back to this.
I like the Tangela because he has sneakers.
He does have
does have
sneakers.
sneakers.
Yeah.
I've
He's got
never.
Sonic. He's got Sonic the
He's got
Hedgehog shoes.
Yeah, but he turns into Tangrowth, which is just ugly or Tangela.
Well,
that's
everybody has an
I
awkward
chose my
face.
words carefully.
That's right.
I like
You said
Tangela.
That's
Yeah.
right. You said Tangela.
I like the little boy with the sneakers.
I like, what is it, Wobbuffet?
You like Wobbuffet.
my favorite.
You like
No,
Wobbuffet
Wooper?
a lot, and you like Wooper. You like
Wooper,
both. You like,
yeah.
you like
Wooper's also my least
Quagsire.
favorite.
You like all of the dumb
Quagsire.
blue people.
Yeah.
You also
Quagsire's
like
my
Wobbuffet,
favorite.
don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're basically the same Pokemon, just
But
one of them's head is forward.
Wobbuffet, yeah, Wobbuffet's the one that always looks like it has to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And then Wooper is the one that has no teeth.
Quagsire is evolved Wooper.
Quagsire.
He's the one that has no teeth.
Quagsire
He's
is
the
the
one that's
have
just
you
a
ever
maw.
seen his attack animation? It's
Yeah.
just like
I
like,
hate those two. I hate Wooper with my whole
You
heart.
do?
He's
Oh,
so
no.
annoying to me.
It's the best. And it's just like friend shaped because there's only round corners. There's no sharp points to them.
Shiny Umbreon's my favorite. If anyone was curious.
Oh, we're going
Shiny
forms.
Umbreon.
I really like Alolan Typhlosion. Or not Alolan, Hisuian Typhlosion.
I don't remember.
I have to think.
Have you
really
played-
hard.
Oh wait, the
Pokemon
newest
Legends.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
The ghost
Arceus one?
Typhlosion that
Yes.
looks like she's just stoned out of her mind and happy to be here. She's not even attacking, she just happens to be haunted and the ghosts are doing stuff to people. It's great. She's just blazing it, having a good time.
She just works here.
She's just like, sir, this is a Wendy's, and then a ghost punches their lights out. Like, it's wonderful.
I think I did Rowlet for Arceus.
Okay,
Anyway.
so, Kineticist.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes.
No, but we talked about Pokemon
There's-
because which app,
yes.
which one?
I don't know. I get stick with water. I feel like water you get the best of everything because Earth's if you want to make a solid wall, you're great. If you want anything other than that, you're having a hard time. Air and fire, you don't have anything cohesive. Water, you got both because you got water and you got ice. You got two sides of this that are both perfectly functional for your solid object and your not solid object. It's versatile.
Okay, yeah, I locked in. I'm doing water. That card.
Wait,
Water
you
Bros.
can't
Long
do
distance high
both.
five. That's true. You can do two. You can be water and air. You
Yeah.
can
That's
dual
true.
gate.
I changed my answer. I want to do fire.
Speaking of,
Oh my gosh.
if you choose
You need to do soul searching and find who you are.
Fire is chaotic, and I like that. Fire is just pure chaos, and if I'm playing a character that's fire based, that dude's gonna be loud, and that
is
dude's
what-
gonna be just be all over.
this
the
is
place.
what all of our discussion streams are going to be like, by the way. If you're getting for a discussion stream about anything, it's going to be this. So hope you enjoy.
Welcome to our pseudo podcast.
If you there are benefits here. If you pick a dedicated gate, so you pick one single element, you get 3 first level impulse feats. I haven't seen. I assume those are basically the class feats. If you pick a double gate, you get 2. 1 for each element. You can't double dip on one of them. And if you pick a universal gate, you only get 1 impulse feat. But you can change it every day.
I like the one.
Wait,
I'm sticking with the one.
I'm confused. What does the impulse feed do?
We haven't gotten to specifics.
haven't,
They're like
yeah.
Never
special
mind.
element
They
specific
could be
feats we
horrible
haven't
or
gotten
awesome.
into yet.
We don't know.
But they are, I imagine, going to be the main source of the power that you're going to have as a kineticist. They're going to be like your power attack kind of thing.
Do you get more when you level up? Then?
I'm probably. I would assume that you
would
probably
the major
do.
benefit to going universal be mostly like flavor?
It sounds like versatility because not
Okay.
only do you have access to all 4 elements, you get to change your impulse feat daily. So you get to change because you have all of the elements to any impulse feat that you qualify for. So if you kind of have an idea of what you're getting into or what might be useful for you, that morning you can prep anything. Whereas both dedicated and dual gates, you're completely locked into your choices. They can't change.
The problem with how I think I would play that is that requires forethought. And I do exactly. I'm much better if I just have my things set for me when I go in.
And if getting 3 impulse feats for a dedicated gate, I haven't seen what they are yet. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of varied powers that you'll be able to pull from. Which we'll see. I feel like that could very easily outweigh the versatility of the universal gate, but we'll have to see what the impulse feats do before we figure that out first.
So did you stick with fire or are you an avatar?
I'm going fire.
Okay.
So
I decided I
He
didn't want
picks
to.
the 2 worst answers.
Fire. Okay, Zuko
In
rules.
succession.
Okay,
Zuko is
Zuko alone
awesome.
is the best episode of
I
the
do
entire
really
series.
like-
I understand that Zuko's very popular. I cannot see him I can't see him as anything other than just like any single guy from that. Like you could pick any man out of a Hot Topic, and you could tell me that was Zuko.
Yeah,
and
but
I'd be
he
yes.
actually completed
yeah.
his story
Like,
arc.
yeah, that could be.
I thought he had something going on in his eye, but yeah, that's probably Zuko. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why everybody's so obsessed with Zuko when Sakura's
Because
right there.
his-
That's what I'm.
Only because his story arc was so well developed.
Well, yeah, he had a good story, but as
He
far
would
as
think-
hi, have you
redeemed
guys met
himself.
the boulder?
oh my god, he was so fun.
No, Zuko rules, and Zuko alone is the best episode in that entire series where he's just a samurai. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. I don't know. I think because he ended up
roll your
also
eyes.
sucking.
Don't roll your eyes, AJ. What are you doing over there?
Excuse me, sir? This is the problem with me having a mic. I can't see your like sass of the periphery if I'm doing
I'm
this.
sorry, I didn't realize that the difference between this and this was being able to see behind you.
So anyways,
I just peeked. I'm sorry, everybody. Sorry, I scream laughed.
that's me all the time, so don't worry
That
about
can't
it.
be the first
You know,
time
it's
in
not
this
you.
stream.
That is not you all the time. We've established those streams.
Yeah.
So
My
you're-
laughs are surprisingly loud on this.
Do it, laugh
only.
right now.
I can't laugh on command. Are you
Dude,
crazy?
you won't, coward.
Wow. Now I'm never gonna laugh ever again. And it's your voice's
You've
fault.
removed all happiness from her life. The most base level Kinesis power is the ability to gather element. One action, you draw forth elemental matter from your inner gate. Choose an element that you can channel. You get a wad of it in your hand. Your hand is occupied by the element you've channeled. You can't use it for anything other than elemental impulse abilities to shape and direct it. You can drop it like it were a weapon as a free action. Using an action that has the overflow trait will cause the element to dissipate, and you can only gather one at a time. So even if you have 2 free hands and 2 elements, you can't gather both of them. You can like channel one of them at once. Another point against Universal Gate, I guess. You get an incredibly pure form with its typical physical properties. You can gather an element hold it and use it even in environments where it wouldn't normally be possible. For example, there's no problem with gathering fire underwater.
Cool.
Or gathering air in a vacuum is the other example they go for.
Okay, I've only played Pathfinder once. How often do you run into vacuums? That had to be made a note.
There's a surprising amount of Pathfinder abilities dealing with surviving in a vacuum. So somewhere out there has to be like a lot of that stuff
One
happening.
module that takes place 100%
Exactly.
in a
Just in
vacuum.
space, there's definitely just like a space module where
Isn't that Starfinder? Didn't they already do a space one?
What, is there not space because we're in a fantasy world?
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. The world
We
is
have Middle
flat,
Earth
the
and
world
that's
is
it.
flat and has a ceiling.
Yeah, you cannot break that
It's like
ceiling.
Minecraft.
I always knew Pathfinder worked like Minecraft. That was the mental connection I was missing for running my games.
Right.
No wonder I smelted so much when I was a druid.
Manchow's a good point. We went to the moon in Strange Aeons, but we were in an area of the moon that like explicitly had oxygen, didn't it? I don't think that was.
What?
I don't recall.
That
it
ain't the
being
moon.
I wasn't
That's
in
not
that
the
game.
moon I know.
You were still in the ceiling.
We were in like the
Yeah.
moon prison, and it was like indoor, and
You were
they
in a
had like
rocky
oxygen and
place.
gravity.
I'm
so-
pretty sure that's
Moon
just like
prison.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about it. It
Moon
sounds so cool. I
was
was in
super
moon prison.
cool.
Didn't they go to Moon Prison in Paper Mario?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did a moon prison in Paper Mario.
we've got the references. Do you see how
We
cool
got-
these
we
people
were
are?
there.
We know references.
All right, so now let's
She
get
said we're
okay,
cool.
here we got impulses. An impulse is a special type of magical action available to Kineticists, allowing you to wield or shape your element. You can select an impulse feat only if you can channel its element. To wield an element using an impulse, you must have gathered. An impulse without an elemental trait can be used with any gathered element that might have different effects depending on what you use it with. Your inner gate selection gives you one or more bonus impulse feats, and you get more. You can get more with class feat selection, so you will get more as you level. All Kineticists have access to the most basic impulse, which is Elemental Blast. The wave of your hand, you swing or hurl elemental matter at a foe. You make a melee or a ranged strike with your gathered element. Damage die, damage type, and traits for the attack all depend on your element. If you make a melee strike, you get your strength modifier. As the element is more intense and physically closer to your inner gate, you get no modifier if you're making a ranged attack.
Okay.
And though it's not legally an unarmed attack, it uses your unarmed proficiency, gets any bonuses and penalties that would apply to unarmed, uses weapon damage dice and weapon traits the same way unarmed attacks would, so you can use like hand wraps of mighty blows and stuff.
So, okay, now I'm thinking ahead. Remind me, because I know D&D, so I'm sorry, everybody. What's the fighter equivalent in Pathfinder?
Fighter.
Sick. Okay, so or I guess it would actually be
Stealth fighter.
Yeah, I guess it would actually be monk. Would be what I'm thinking.
Oh, the monk equivalent?
Or is it just monk again?
It's still monk,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought so. I thought I knew that. Because if it uses your unarmed strike, could you multi-class with this and a monk, and then you just do flaming fists all the time?
You could.
That sounds
Monks
sick.
can already do that by themselves.
Yeah, but now you have like special not key points. You've got whatever.
Monk doesn't need key points to have flaming strikes. So you just take stoked flame slants and you're backhanding people with fire. That's already a thing.
But I assume you'd get more bonuses for doing this.
You would be using different attacks because most of the powers for a monk in second edition, you're going to be entering a stance. Like, for instance, you're entering gorilla stance, and then you gain access to like gorilla pound attacks.
Sure.
This is an elemental blast attack, which is a different thing.
Okay.
So you can't like gorilla pound and elemental blast because
What other animals are there?
Shark.
I could?
Gorilla?
there's tiger stance, there's wolf
There's
stance,
dragon
there's viper
stance.
stance, there's definitely dragon
Shark.
stance, there's shark stance.
Shark stance? What, you
There's
just do
shark
this?
stance?
Yeah, you just go and you
You just
bite
do this
people.
and people. I don't know if there's shark stance. There's shark barbarian. There's crane stance.
Is that not a that's not
I
a
don't think
monk
there's a shark
either?
stance. Because tiger
okay.
stance is the tiger jaws. Tiger and wolf are both jaw attacks.
So,
It's like-
because if you do like dragon stance and then you're also doing this like flame stuff, that's a cool flavor thing.
yeah, and you would have options. You could do either. Because I haven't looked yet, but I'm going to imagine that Dragon Tail Kick might very well do more damage than a melee elemental blast because Dragon Tail Kick hit very hard. That's the thing it do. Dragon Stance is extremely straightforward. What stance do most damage? Dragon Tail Kick. There you go. You're a monk. Have fun. You get D12.
So dragons are actually like donkeys. They're just really good. They have that like double barrel kick right out to the side.
You just jump up and double foot drop kick somebody.
You could throw bags on it and it can carry it pretty well through a desert.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Just like a donkey.
Donkeys are known for their desert traversal skills. Yeah.
Look, all westerns have taught me that. Clint Eastwood had several.
That's true.
All right. Impulses are magical, but they aren't spells. So anything that restricts you from casting spells, like being in a battle form. However, anything that restricts you from casting spells, like being in a battle form or protects against spells, also applies to impulses. That sounds like impulses are not spells, except they are for all the mechanical purposes, but they're not for. I'm not entirely clear what purposes they're not.
They
yet.
can't be like counterspelled.
You can't counterspell them. It's not. That's fair. Stuff like that probably wouldn't apply. Good brain. You don't even play. See, we got you.
I'm a gamer. What can I say?
Gamer man,
Any
strike
impulse
it down.
used
Shamer.
is your level. Impulses often scale as they level. In these cases, the impulse ends with a level entry. You list the level at which it gets an upgrade, so there'll be some scaling ones too. And then we have the list of what the 4 elements do. So nobody wanted to be an airbender, right?
No.
Good, because airbender
Well, I thought about it.
looks like it's for babies.
Okay, I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Airbender blasts do 1d4 damage. That is the same as stabbing somebody with a kitchen knife.
It's a dart.
It's a dart. They are agile and finesse, which means that you get less of a penalty for attacking multiple times in a turn. I'm not sure how you would do that yet, because you need to gather first and then blast. Does using the impulse not remove your gathered element?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking the PDF that I'm looking at.
Okay.
No, using other trait. Using an overflow ability dissipates your element. So gathering an element is more like a monk entering a stance. You just have to do it once.
I know this term. I know these terms now.
You do it one action, you do it once, and then you can use it as many times as you want unless you do an overflow, which is, I guess, like a big finisher that blasts it all out of your body. So having the agile and finesse traits on air does mean you would be able to attack numerous times with a reduced penalty. Finesse means that you could use your dexterity instead of your strength, and it has a 120-foot range, which is double anything else and triple to sextuple some of the other elements. So it is the long range, it is the light, flowing, agile element. Earth, tied for hardest slapping at D8 damage and is forceful, which means if you hit somebody with it multiple times in a turn, you will do more and more damage the more that you just continue pounding it into someone. And propulsive means that you will get your strength modifier to damage at range as well. However, its range is 20 feet.
I don't need it. That means that I can look them in the eye before I kill them.
Fire is down to D6.
I don't like that you looked me in the eyes after you said that. I don't like that we made eye contact.
Fire
Gotta
is down
make
to
sure I assert
D6.
dominance early on.
It's still agile and finesse, so fire is just as light as air is, but it's a damage die higher at D6 than a D4. Trade-off is half the range at 60 feet.
Which is still a lot.
Still a lot.
60 feet is a lot.
Air is slashing or bludgeoning, so you have 2 types. It's the only one that's versatile. You have 2 types to get around resistances. Fire is only ever fire. And I will tell you from experience, and this is probably the same in D&D, more stuff resists fire than freaking anything, just because that's like the default angry bad thing element. And yeah, that's the noise that fire makes.
It's notorious
when it gets
fire
upset.
sound.
Yeah.
That actually kind of scared me for a minute. I thought
I
Evacuate.
know.
And fire, the fire element is the only one that doesn't do physical damage. Air does slashing or bludgeoning. Earth and water both do only bludgeoning. You just slam people with them. Fire does fire, which is interesting.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That adds up.
Water, same damage as earth. It trades out the strength modifier on ranged attacks for a little bit more range, is 30 foot. It trades out the increasing forceful damage on consecutive hits for the sweep trait, which means that it is easier for you to hit multiple people that are near you with it in one
But they
round.
have to be like exactly
They have to be next
adjacent
to each other, yeah. So it's got to be like
Just
melee, and you can slam it through several people. It's situational, but it's also got the D8 damage.
If you have like 2 giants with 15-foot reach and they didn't stand right next to, do they have to be like hugging? to be
I
considered
think sleep trait,
adjacent?
they literally both have to be adjacent to each other. Two giants, I mean, they're like, even if they're 10 feet wide, if they're next to, if the tokens are next to each other, it's adjacent. Because it's adjacent as far as like the map is concerned. We're not-
Okay.
They don't have to like literally be back to back.
They gotta
like,
be holding hands.
character, yeah.
Waffling.
But I have what's interesting about all of these is that none of them do super incredible damage. It's D4 to D8 on the damage dice. D8's just like a longsword. Longsword might even be D10 in second
I have no
edition.
idea.
They're not high on Wapiti, but they are all melee and ranged attacks with nothing you have to do to switch between them.
They're not high on what?
Wapiti.
Wappy?
Wapiti.
Wappity.
Wapiti, like the ability
did,
to
like,
wapiti
whap?
somebody.
Oh.
Yeah, like this is a whap.
Abuse! Abuse! Peep! Help!
They don't have like
on
a great
camera.
amount of wapiti. They're like this wapiti. It's not super powerful.
Okay, I thought
Like-
that was like an actual Pathfinder term.
No.
I was like, what is wappity? How do I roll to wappity?
Easily. In a great variety of situations. I'm curious, and Chad has said the same thing, that one of these has sweep. I don't care if to Google it right now, but I don't know if the sweep trait is melee specific. I don't know if you could sweep like two archers that were next to each other
That'd
with
be cool.
water and like just long range slap it through two of them. I think
That would be awesome.
sweep's only condition is that the targets are adjacent. So that's kind of neat.
That would be really nice.
So that works for fire too, or
Only water has
Only
sweep.
water.
oh, I thought you said fire had it
Well,
too.
get wrecked.
Yeah, water's got sweep. Water's got sweep. Earth's got forceful. Fire and air both have the fast and agile, whereas fire does a little more damage and air has more versatility.
Gotcha.
So,
I'm still going fire.
and then
not
we
backing
have
Well, you can't back out now. Like,
No.
you've already backed out. So, like, now you're really locked
That's
in.
my boy right there. Is fire.
Yeah.
now we
Ride and die
have
with that now.
adapt element, which is the last thing that any kineticist can do at first level. It's trivial for you to tinker with any of the elements you command. You can pick a non-magical portion of an element you could channel within 10 feet of you. It's got to be either unattended or attended by a willing creature, so you can't like rip stuff off of people. And no bigger than what could fit in the palm of a human hand. It must be loose to be altered. You couldn't rip stones out of a mortared wall. If you have a gathered element, you can choose that portion of the element, and then you can do a variety of things with them. You can gather from them, so you can gather from stuff around you instead of from the plane of whatever. You can move it around. Everyone has a little bit of base, like whatever, kinesis. You can regulate it, which makes it colder or warmer. And
Cold fire.
it is...
Just goes out. You're like, man, I
No,
really
that's
thought that
literally,
would
you
be
can
more.
snuff out this example. You can put flames out. You can end flames. You can turn water into ice or steam. So it's a big range. It's not like you make it a little lukewarm. You can like immediately vaporize water into steam or freeze it into ice.
That is cool.
Is it though?
It's cool.
Is it though?
Stop.
It's
It's cool.
whatever.
It's awesome.
We're
I
gonna
love
be
it.
very refreshed with like ice cold drinks and whatnot, but like, I don't know.
If I'm a
Some
firebender,
neem lemonade.
if I'm a firebender, I can command a room with the lights. Like I can just burn them all out, then turn them on just around me. That's sick.
Absolutely.
For like
Yeah,
two
like
actions.
if I work at a theater, that's great. if I
But-
control when the lights turn on and off.
You got a great career ahead of you in the circus.
Yes.
You can
get some
sculpt
strobe.
it. You can take this portion and you can reshape it into a small object. It looks crappy and is extremely fragile and cannot be used for anything that requires like a tool or a weapon or a spell component.
We're selling this now.
Yeah.
See?
That's
It's awesome. I'm
Okay,
cool.
so
That's
what is the point of okay, so like this is a 2-action.
This is prestidigitation.
Oh, okay.
It
okay.
This is prestidigitation
I
with
want
your
to tell
element.
you about that last description.
Thaumaturgy is similar, is whatever it is. Is
What?
that what it is?
D&D is both. So,
Oh, does it?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I think isn't thaumaturgy the D&D one?
You literally screamed and it just touched
And it
the red. And I've watched AJ go in the red while
Right
talking.
here. Right here.
I am doing that most of the time.
But yeah, this is notably they've all got tags. You can only sculpt earth, and you can regulate the other 3. So you can't turn rocks into lava or anything like that, or vice versa.
Lame.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, this is prestidigitation. This is you get a little bit of prestidigitation over your element. This is like cool flavor, which cool. I like cool flavor. Cool flavor is cool. So that's everything native at first level. Where do I find
Where do we find that
the
cool
infusion things?
Oh no, the infusion thing is settlement.
Impulse
Just joking.
things.
See, this is where I think fire is going to shine, is because it's kind of lame in its base stuff, but I think in those points that we haven't even looked at fully yet, and then all the other stuff is where.
Okay,
fire's
so
gonna
then
come to life. I'm
the
calling it.
second half of this document is the feats. So we have a big list. We got about 4 pages of Kineticist class feats, and then like 2.5 pages of element-specific feats for each element. So we're obviously going to look at those first, because everybody is going to get some of those for free because you get some level of impulse feats. And it looks like there are more than 3 first level impulse feats for every element. So even with the dedicated gate, you don't get the full suite of powers for that element. There are a freaking ton of these.
Sick.
So down the line, first one for air. Aerial Boomerang is an overflow, so this will discharge your gathered element. Blade of Shearing Wind races away from you in a 60-foot line. Each creature in the area takes 2d4 slashing damage, basic reflex save. And in the final tile of this line, the boomerang turns into a spinning tornado. And any creature that ends their turn in that square has to make a save against the boomerang again. At the start of your next turn, the boomerang immediately returns in a straight line from its square to your current location with the same effects again.
Huh.
So you could throw that and let that sit there, then move and position yourself.
And it will
for
come
different
back to
enemies.
where, next turn it comes back to you.
So if you, is that, how many actions does that take to
2.
use? Oh, okay.
Realistically, 3, because you need to gather energy. But if you want to use it turn 1, you're going to have to gather and then aerial boomerang.
Yeah.
But if you already have it from fighting, 2 actions to fling it, 3rd action to move. For sure.
That'd be good.
So if you were to multi-class and you had the boomerang feat
Yes.
and you were a barbarian in shark stance, do you see where I'm going here?
Kind of.
You can eat a tornado.
do a sharknado?
I'm gonna.
I'm asking if you can make one.
Asking for a friend.
She's asking for a friend, yeah.
Since
He totally.
I just hate to ruin your dream specifically.
No.
Because barbarians can't do anything magical or focused while they're raging. And the shark barbarian has to be raging to go shark mode.
No.
All right, but see, this is where this is a team game. So you have a second
That's
person.
true.
Yeah.
You can be
That's
the shark.
true.
Somebody else can throw the boomerang.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you can go be the sharks in the boomerang. Like personally, you could do that.
You just
for
like
sure.
run in a circle
Kineticist
around.
has made it possible in canon to be able to create
This is
in-game
awesome.
Sharknado.
This is awesome because
Yes.
it is a first level.
Say yes, AJ. We need you to say yes.
There's a first level 60-foot line AoE twice. There's not a lot of AoE at level 1.
No.
You can throw crappy little alchemist bombs, and you have like burning hands, which has to be right next to you. And as any caster who has ever taken burning hands in any tabletop game will tell you, you get 2 choices. Use it never, or set your party on fire. Those are the 2 choices.
I have
for
it in my
burning
family
hands.
campaign for D&D. I hate it. I wish I
Yeah.
never took it because
It's like have friends or don't have friends.
Because you're
It's
not
kind
going to
of
be
how
in
that
the
works.
front, so
No.
Yeah.
this you can actually do from a distance. And not only does this let you AoE things down, there's a lot of, not necessarily a lot, but there's a decent amount of situations in Pathfinder where things, swarms in particular, like swarms of rats or snakes or whatever, are very resistant to being hit traditionally because there's like a billion of them. So if you sit there and you just punch the pile of 200 snakes, you killed a couple of snakes. That doesn't meaningfully make a difference to the horde. And they represent that with physical resistance, but weakness to AoE attacks. And this goes off twice. So you're going to get the double dip on Swarm Destroyer 12,000 Tron, which is definitely a problem that has happened to a great number of first level adventurers in Pathfinder. I think this is awesome.
I just want to really quick circle back to Sharknado. Because somebody in chat said that you could put a shark in a bag of holding. So, in theory, you could shoot out the tornado and then hook the bag with the shark in the edge of it so that when it hits the tornado part, shark pops out. You thus have a Sharknado.
We had a bagged shark boy for the end of one of our campaigns previously. There was a guy who was a lycanthrope. He was a wereshark.
Sure.
So he could breathe water. And
Yeah, of course.
You can do that.
It happened to my buddy Eric once, yeah.
And there was this big, they went to this ancient tower that had been like cursed by Dagon, demon god of the deep. Of
course.
He touched this statue, he got
deep.
cursed. And he got cursed so that his lungs perpetually fill with seawater, which is great because he breathes water. So that worked out. It was a wonderful moment for him. That went great. Which means he now no longer has to worry about the vacuum in the bag of holding. There it came up. We came back.
We did. We
no
circled
longer-
back. This is it.
He no longer has to worry about the vacuum in the bag of holding because he can breathe his cursed Dagon water. So we put him in a bag. We threw the bag at people. They're like, "What the hell is this?" And then a shark barbarian jumped out of it. They got very upset.
Oh my god.
So this is the Sharknado. This is
Yeah.
the move. We
Dream
get that
with-
guy.
Yep. Get that guy.
get him on the
Can I
phone.
hire you
Get him
for
on the
like?
Somebody call Larkin.
Wait, can you just be aware there's a were
I don't know.
Can I
if
be a
those-
were-hedgehog? Can I be Sonic the Hedgehog?
You can-
Can I be Sonic the Hedgehog?
You can definitely do that. I don't know if in second edition has wear stuff yet. I know 1E did. I don't know if we have lycanthropes in 2E yet.
When did 2E come out? If there's 20,000
3 years?
classes,
Oh wow. I didn't know.
It's like 3 years probably at this point.
okay.
It's been a
So they're
minute,
adding
but-
earthbending and oracles that see into the future, but they haven't added lycanthrope yet.
I'm not
It's
sure.
That's an
I mean, they
interesting
might.
tier. No judgment. It's just an
Let me
interesting
see.
tier.
Well, look, werewolf.
Has it been 4 years? No way.
It's been one presidency.
That's crazy.
We can vote him out.
Beastskin heritage.
That's
Maybe?
true. There's beastskin heritage. Beastskin heritage is basically a lycanthrope. You could flavor it as a lycanthrope because that is like you are basically just part animal. So you could just do a shark beastskin.
But there's no real, there's no true lycanthropy yet
Well, there is,
that you can be.
but it's you have lycanthropy and you're an NPC now because you've lost your mind.
Oh, we're very
But
different.
we're looking for like the Taylor Lautner kind of like.
I want to
We're all looking for the-
How many
We
times do
had that in 1E. I don't think that's in 2E yet.
how many times do I have to say I want to be Sonic the Hedgehog? Let me be lycanthrope hedgehog, okay?
So, second air impulse level 1 is a reaction that you can use whenever a creature within 60 feet is falling. It doesn't even say an ally.
Wait,
so
within 60 feet is falling? Okay, I'm interested.
that
What
can
the
be
heck?
that can be allies, that can be enemies, that can be yourself, because it is any creature within 60 feet. Gentle currents of air. I'm sure this is Featherfall. Flow upward to slow the creature's fall. The target's fall slows to 60 feet per round. The creature ends when the target reaches the ground. They take no damage. This is Featherfall. So you can reaction Featherfall. Straightforward. We all know Featherfall.
I thought this was going to be an attack where like someone's falling and then you just go like, "Kapah!"
You just fall faster.
Slap him down.
Yeah, they're already off balance. Yeah, you're already off balance. Like, just go down. Like, you're fine. I was pretty excited about that, but I guess it could be helpful too. That's fine.
I mean, Featherfall as a reaction is
yes.
very helpful.
Yes, Featherfall is a reaction in 2E. The spell Featherfall is a reaction.
Oh, it is
in
a
2E,
reaction?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
for us, it's a bonus action. For us.
I don't
For
know
D&D, it's a bonus
what
action.
that means, but that's
For you.
that's cooler. I'm sorry that happened.
We have reactions and bonus actions, and
Okay.
bonus action is for.
Oh, so it's kind of like you're not gonna notice. Obviously, it's like 1E swift actions is what it sounds like.
Just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking that before you said
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I was saying that right before I came over, actually. I Ubered over and I was talking to my Uber driver the entire time. Like, dude, bonus actions are just like
Bonus actions are just swift actions, man. Think about it. Like,
put some thought into it, dude. Come on.
Finally, somebody said something.
Yeah.
all right, fair winds. Kinetic Aura. I got to roll back up and see what Kinetic Aura means real quick. So that's a special type of thing. So there are kinetic auras are one of the special rules for Kineticist. I didn't read because there were a ton of them.
You have been corrected. Apparently,
I
it
saw
is.
that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It is a reaction.
Yeah, share it with the class.
It
It
says
is a reaction in 5e apparently.
I was,
not a bonus action.
You can correct
Oh
me too.
my gosh!
Okay, impulse is the
You can make me look like a
aura.
fool on the internet. It's
Dog
fine.
pile right
wondering if somebody
here.
was gonna say it. I don't know.
Okay, so you can get a lot of your things give you auras, which are an effect that is a 10-foot emanation around you, which means it's 10 feet out from your square, from every edge of your square in every direction. Unless you have an ability to change its size. If you have a kinetic aura, using any ability to change it to a different kinetic aura of the same element gets a 1 action discount. So switching from like any fire aura to a different fire aura, cheaper. It lasts the entire fight.
Sick.
It lasts until you go down or until you replace it or the fight is over. So this is kind of like Barbarian Rage. If you get KO'd, it goes down because it has to be like maintained a little bit, I guess. But we have our first one here for air with fair winds. Winds swirling around you provide a tailwind to speed you and your allies and a headwind to harry your foes. Squares in the aura are difficult terrain for your enemies.
Oh dang!
That's nutty at level 1
Yeah,
on a
what the heck?
10-foot emanation.
Are you
That is
kidding
a
me?
huge amount of
Wait, you say it
difficult
becomes
terrain.
difficult terrain?
For the
difficult
enemies
terrain.
only.
Oh,
10
enemies only.
feet out around
Yeah.
only
That's
for
solid.
enemies.
Oh, wow.
Allies
That's crazy.
get a 5-foot speed bonus.
What the heck? That's
Any-
so wild.
You're just you're
sorry.
pushing your
You
friends.
get a 5-foot speed bonus. Allies that start their turn in the area get a 10-foot
What
speed
the
bonus.
heck?
What?
So you're just pushing them around.
Holy
Yeah.
You're giving your
crap.
friends boosts and holding everyone
That is
back.
What
nuts.
the heck? Just making it difficult terrain for the enemies would be like crazy.
That
There
is
are entire
good.
there are entire feat builds for that in like monk
There is
stances.
like a 14th level champion
Yeah.
feat that you have to build into that's like Shield Harrier or something that just makes the squares adjacent to you difficult terrain.
Yeah.
This is double that radius, plus it speed boosts you, plus it speed boosts all your allies.
Is it the allies only have the
gosh.
speed boost in that 10-foot range?
have
Or
the
if they
speed-
move out of it,
they
then
have
they
the
still
speed
get
boost
it.
if their turn started in the radius, they have it for their full turn.
Well, what
So all
level
3
do you-
actions can get it then.
All 3 actions will get it, but they have to start within the 10 feet
Still.
of you. Yes.
That's
and then you just
crazy.
boost them. That is nutty strong. Holy crap, that's nutty
For a
strong.
You can
Level
escape
1?
fights super
Oh my
easy with that
God.
too.
There's
Yeah.
2 actions. It's not overflow, so it doesn't discharge your element, but you would have to gather one. So if you want to do it turn 1 again, it would be gather 1 action, fair winds,
Still.
2 and 3 actions. So like
Goodness.
it's a spell, but that's super
wild.
good.
What
That's
level was
wild.
1. These
Oh
are
my
the first
gosh.
level. I haven't
Yeah,
even got past
that's
1.
crazy.
This is where everything we talk about is level 1 Kineticist.
That's wild.
Then the 4th and final first level air impulse is Whisper on the Wind. Though you speak in a gentle whisper, like Bryn trying to scream, a soft wind carries your words far away. This is the message spell.
Oh, okay.
If you start your message with the target's name, you do not need line of effect to each other.
Okay.
Okay.
You just
So it's
buffed
buffed message, because normally message is a cantrip
Yeah.
that lets you whisper to someone within like 30 feet and they hear it like you're whispering to them. It's still audible at the level of a whisper, and you have to have line of effect. This just doesn't need line of effect. And
that's crazy.
That's nice.
once you get to 8th level, it has a 1-mile range.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
Mile. That's interesting because the message spell is all you need. It's a bonus action. It's not a reaction to do the message spell.
Credibility.
Yeah.
It's at an all-time low over
Yeah,
here.
I was also talking to my Uber driver about this.
Oh, nice.
So
I know that's 120 feet though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is wild. I don't know what base message is. I'm not sure what the range on base message in Pathfinder is.
I don't know.
It's probably bigger than 30, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So if you were a dedicated air kineticist, you would get 3 of those 4 impulses at first level. If you're a universalist, those are among the list of you could pick one of them at the start of the day. So these are the impulse powers that you're being rewarded with for your specializations. And they seem really freaking good so far.
They seem
These are incredible.
really.
Yeah.
Of course, that is for air, and air has the lowest like base attack.
That's true.
So
You
maybe
have
they're
very low
trying
base
to
damage.
buff. Maybe they're trying to buff them a little bit because they kind of are potatoes.
For fun, would we let's read one of the highest level air impulse abilities, just to see what it tops out at. There are 2, and both of their names are Dragon Ball Z anime attacks.
Yeah, what the
Would you
heck?
like to hear about Infinite Expanse of Bluest Heaven? or would you
name.
like to hear about Crowned in Tempest's Fury?
The
I
bluest
think,
heaven.
I'm pretty sure Jotaro in part 4 of JoJo fought Crowned Tempest Theory. I like Blue Heaven sounds fun.
Bluest Heaven.
Yeah.
Bluest Heaven? Okay.
I don't know what bluest heaven is, but I'm down. Let's
sky.
go.
I can tell you one thing, it's blue.
That's the
very
ceiling.
close.
Bluest.
You can't go
Yeah.
past the
Ceiling of the
bluest.
world. Yeah, that's the top.
Okay.
So Infinite Expanse of Bluest Heaven is a 3-action ability with Overflow. So you have to start your turn with your element, and you will lose your element for using it. A sphere of distorted air creates an illusion of a limitless expanse of impossibly blue sky. All within feel the overwhelming sensation of falling forever. The vision is a 10-foot burst, so 10 feet from a point is 20 feet across, within 60 feet. Every creature makes a will save. If they have the air trait, they get a degree of success up. Lasts the end of your next turn, but you can sustain it. It has no effect on creatures that were not already in there when you cast it. If they fail, they are, and everyone in this bubble has to save. They're flat-footed. It's fleeing from the illusory sky, but it's also disoriented. Anytime that it uses an action to attempt to flee, it has to make a 50-50 flat check, or it flees to a space that is still within the illusion.
Oh my
That's
God.
not. That's a Jujutsu Kaisen domain expansion.
You know what's
That's
really
so
neat
rad.
though? What is really funny is that it doesn't say anything. Like it's the creature just feels like it's falling, even if it's like a flying creature.
Yep.
So like a dragon, you just have a dragon up there and it'd be like,
yeah.
oh no,
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
like
like,
the-
you're fine, and it's
That's
like
so
no.
sick. Can you move that orb? Can you move that sphere?
The
then?
orb stays where it is,
Okay,
and you
'cause
can
you
sustain
could have
it for
something
as long as you
falling and
want
just
to.
have it follow. And have fallen.
They can literally be on solid ground. They just feel like they're falling.
Yeah.
And since they are fleeing, I don't believe fleeing is forced movement, which means that will trigger reactions. And if they fail the 50-50 check, they flee and basically run around in a circle and stay in the bubble.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
And then they have to try again next turn. And if they succeed, their turn is running out of the bubble, still flat-footed. So
So as a level 8, what is this level
this
18?
is a level 18 ability.
Level 18 ability. How do you think that stacks up against like other level 18? Do you think that's pretty good?
I think it is super flavorful and phenomenally weak.
Because it's a save, right?
It is a saving throw to put flat-footed on some people.
It seems. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Is it better? Is it
18th
like
level
Maze?
feat. Maze is pick a guy, you're banned, and then they just don't get to play anymore.
Yeah,
No
they go
save.
to like a different dimension. And like this, I'm like, for 18th level, that seems like.
This isn't the level where you're going to be casting like Weird, which is Phantasmal Killer on everybody. This on a failure is giving like flat-footed and then fleeing that they get to continue making saving throws against. You
Yeah.
can scare to death somebody as one action and give them fleeing that they don't get to keep making saves against.
Right.
And also they're like frightened 4 or something ridiculous.
I mean, you could, if it's staying there, in theory, if somebody gets out, you could push them back in.
It does not affect people who are not in the emanation to start.
Oh, so
So you couldn't push it back in.
What
You
if
just
you
had
push
to.
them back in and then cast something
Restart
to keep them
it.
in there so that they then stayed in there.
Well, it wouldn't affect them. It only affects them if it starts with them in
basically
it.
a burst
when the
it's
thing
a
starts,
burst
not
of
the
like
start.
these are the people that are targeted, and then you
Yeah.
can sustain it to keep affecting those people, but that's it.
Gotcha. So okay, so if you have people restrained in there, then you could.
But you already have them restrained, right?
Notably, I think impulse feats are basically free. So this is, for I guess lack of a better term, like a passive power that you will get access to.
Okay.
And it is not expending a resource like a spell slot.
Yeah.
You can do
Okay.
this literally infinity times. So the more I think about it, the more I'm like, is okay. But this is feeling to me like one of those, they're err on the side of conservative in the playtest
Yeah.
things.
It also like. If you know what you're getting into and you're sneaking into somewhere, that would be super helpful to like get
That's
the
true.
drop on people. Like you just immediately have them flat-footed
It's
at
a
the beginning of the round.
3-action. Yeah.
So
It's a 3-action illusion mental visual, which means you are dipping in all of the things that stuff can be immune to.
Well, and it's also a 3 action, and you have to
And you have to
prepare
have an
your
element.
material first, which means this has to be the second round of combat at the
Well,
earliest.
but if you're not in combat, like, if you don't have actions, you
like
could-
hidden in a corner or like in the rafters or something, then you do that. Then
Could you?
and you start the turn that way.
This notably does not have the thing. In first edition, they had a whole lot of text about kineticists doing anything are extremely obvious. That literally, when you were gathering power, was what the ability was called, everybody within 60 feet automatically knows that you are doing it. You are detected to everyone. They don't have that verbiage in here. So you are just kind of pulling up, and it's air. You're kind of pulling up like a bit of breeze. I don't see any reason you couldn't do that stealthily.
Yeah.
You like burp one time, and then you're good to go.
Breathe in your hand. There's your breath. Easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we came back.
Oh, we hit tornado. We hit breath.
And we're at the end of the air. It's
Wait,
interesting.
what's the other one? Yeah, what's our...
But do you want to read both of them?
We don't have to. I like the high level stuff because it's cool.
Crown and Tempest's Fury. You place a Crown of Lightning on your brow.
Whoa.
You get a bunch of buffs. It is an aura. So it's one of those kinetic auras around you. Any creature that enters the kinetic aura or ends its turn there takes 2d12 damage. You gain a 20-foot fly speed. You gain a 10-foot bonus to all your speeds. All your elemental blasts deal an additional d12 electricity damage.
So basically, you put on your like cool guy sunglasses, and then people are just like in danger all the time.
Notably, you're going to have a giant friendly firing aura around you because you just have like lightning murder flying around you constantly. But you also
Well,
have
if
fly
you have
speed, so you
your
can
cool
just,
guy
like, snap
sunglasses on, then nobody wants to be your friend anyways because you're too cool.
Is that another 3 action? Takes
That's
all your
2
elements.
That's
Okay.
2, and it's a kinetic aura. It is an overflow. It does drop your element. But that one's not terrible.
like,
Basically,
you
you are strapping a d12 onto whatever your attack already
Yeah.
is. Seems pretty okay.
Yeah. And you have an aura. So
And you can
Yeah.
speed, and you have an aura damage around you, and you can fly. And again, this is not a limited power. You can use infinity times per day.
Yeah.
So at this point, you just this is literally, you're going Super Saiyan.
So that would be the actual good stealth one because you could drop in the middle of people, activate that thing to damage them around you, and then
Just blow it up,
yeah.
Is that stealth?
is.
Is that
They-
considered stealth if you just drop into the
You're
middle of
nuke.
things?
There's a stealth nuke above them, and then you stop stealthing.
I
when the
mean,
nuke drops.
anything is stealth if you just drop
The
into
way
the middle of
these things
things.
work is in lieu of having a reflex save. The way it does damage is if they enter your aura or end their turn there. So if you jump into a group of people and blast it, on their turn, they have an opportunity to get out. And because they won't take any damage. Which is that's like basically all of these aura and field effect things that don't have a saving throw. If they come into it on purpose or if they stay there, they're getting zapped. But their reaction, because again, everything in initiative is happening more or less simultaneously, is you're blasting it and they're like, oh crap, and then run away. So they aren't actually taking the damage. But it would force them away from you or
That's
force them to
true.
take a bunch of
A
damage.
lot of this stuff sounds like it would pair really well with other stuff to do that.
I'm sure it would. Okay, Earth. So Earth's got 4. First one, Geologic Attunement. You come in tune with the earth and stone around you, extending your stances through it and pulling it towards you, rippling the waves. You gain Tremor Sense. This is a kinetic aura. So you get Tremor Sense, which is basically you can just see through the ground within 10 feet of you.
It's literally tough.
Yeah,
We've got
This is,
tough.
this is tough. This is
This is
literally
literally
tough.
tough.
And earth and stone in your aura are also difficult terrain.
How big is the aura again?
10 feet. But
Okay.
I think there are things that can modify it. All kinetic auras are 10 feet unless you have a modifier. But if you move, all the effects get suppressed until the end of your turn. So it's not active while you are moving. So it would be your turn, you would move, it would turn off at the end of your turn, it turns back on. So it's on for everybody else's turn. But you don't have like Tremor Sense while you are moving around is the only thing that seems like it makes a difference on.
that makes sense. I mean, you're a rock, so you're not going to be moving. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
That one's just a 2-action throw up. At 13th level, it's worth noting the Tremor Sense becomes a precise sense. That's tough. That means you can use it just like you use Sight. You won't have a miss chance on anyone that you can only detect with Tremor Sense. It is as honed a vision as our Sight
So
is.
at the beginning, it's just like
At the
there are
beginning,
people.
it is a vague, like, you can tell what square they're in. You can try to attack them. You'll have a 50-50 miss chance, just like they were invisible.
Okay.
Because they are functionally invisible. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Kaga's got a good point. So the difficult terrain doesn't, screw over your own movement, because it is not like enemies treat it. It is difficult terrain. So it turns off while you're moving around, so you have to walk through your crappy difficult terrain.
What have I done?
Oh, I hate this. This is the way to take this ability. Okay, fair enough. Good point and way better.
Makes sense.
Second one. Stepping stones. Discs of rock appear around you and you place them to make a new path. You can set them horizontally to make a path across the ground or a liquid, or you can anchor them into a vertical surface to make stairs going up the side of it.
Nice.
The path is up to 20 feet long. Steps can extend up to 10 feet up the side of a surface. All the squares must be contiguous. No square can be more than 60 feet away from you. Moving across the path lets creatures ignore difficult terrain and hazardous terrain from the ground. They last until the end of your next turn, but you can sustain it for up to 10 minutes. And every 2 levels, the path gets 10 feet longer.
That seems super useful. I can picture a lot of situations that we've already had that would be really good.
Name one.
Well, we were trying to go across a wet and slippery cliff on the seaside, and almost everybody fell into the sea. No, they didn't. Look at this.
Over here, Mrs. Golem.
No, I went like this, and then I was moving. I was moving.
She's got excellent
My
form.
moves were happening here. Excuse me, you gotta trust the process.
It goes away at the end of your next turn, which means you could put another step. You can have like a constant Bowser's Infinite Staircase going up the side of anything. And it is long enough that you can fit a party on it. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
you would be going slowly because with a full party, you'd only be able to move like 5 feet at a turn because,
Right.
well, that was the end of your turn. You could just make a whole other 20 thing and then because the end of your turn is going to drop.
Can you?
I'm sure there's a way you can finagle it so the party can also do it.
Well, because it's at the end of your next turn. So you have 2 stairs going
So yeah,
at a
you make a
time.
set of stairs. Everyone goes up the stairs.
Yeah.
It comes around to your turn again. You make another set of stairs. You move up, and then this one despawns with the rest of your party still standing on it.
No, because it's the end. The end of your
And
next
that is
turn.
the end of your next turn because now it's this one. I think it would have to be the focus of all that you were doing because you basically would have to ready an action to move when the next set of stairs appeared. Like mechanically, you could definitely do it, but if were it in combat, it would be your party's full action economy to be, well, at least using 2 actions to ready to move up to the next set of stairs and then 1 action to actually fight with, which is reasonable if you're trying to focus on a bunch of freaking spinning plates that are just sticking into a wall that you are making a fighting retreat up. You're going to have 1 action to defend yourself with.
Also,
but
there's
out
like
of
so
combat,
many
it's
like
just you can just do it.
also like how many like scaling walls like that we had to like scale or like buildings we had to get into where we could just like.
So a lot of times that would
A
be
lot
super
of
useful.
stuff that'd be super useful.
Third one is Stone Shield. This is a single action. You raise a floating shield of stone, which is just like raising a steel shield. You get the +2 circumstance to your AC. While the shield is raised, you also get a +2 circumstance bonus to Fortitude. You can use the shield block reaction with it. The shield's got 6 hardness, which is better than a steel shield. I think this is the most powerful shield you can have at level 1, as far as I can tell. And after you block anything with it, the shield crumbles and the AC bonus goes away. So
It's only 1 action,
one
which
action,
is like basically the
raise
same.
a shield. It blocks the most damage of any shield at level 1 by like 1, but still. And when you block with it after blocking the damage, it's basically automatically destroyed. You still have your gathered element. That doesn't remove your gathered element. It just drops the shield.
That's still good. That's still very good
Yeah.
for level.
And the
Still
hardness is scaling, of course, so it will get sturdier as levels go up. So you do have a bit of the tankiness in the earth element.
Yeah.
And you can throw this up and protect yourself. This is just a better shield spell. Because
Yeah.
a shield spell also does
Also
this.
1 action.
Also 1 action. Also just like raising a shield. Also blows up the first time it blocks anything. But once it blows up, you can't use it again for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Once this blows up, it just drops and you're like, okay, you just make it again
And you
next
can
turn.
just do it again.
the point thing though.
No, this is not an overflow.
Oh, okay.
So you keep your element.
Sick.
That's good.
This is pretty
pretty
good.
good.
Okay. And this is oh, you do lose a gathered element when it gets broken. Never mind. You use this as last sentence.
Hey, I love this like fact checking. Yeah, I like how we do this on chat or on stream, and then chat's
do-
like, well,
If you block you have to gather again next turn.
Okay.
Because the gathered element is the shield that's in front of you.
I was gonna say that'd be very, very strong.
Yeah.
For a level
The
1.
air ones were freaking nutty.
The air ones were
insane.
wild.
I'm not saying they're not.
These earth ones are kind of also here so far. Like
The air people are only throwing darts.
that's true. I
That's
guess-
true.
Yeah, these guys are D8 blockers, so like Earth, you're hitting a lot harder. You got the forceful. These is the damage class. Speaking of our last one here, Tremor, which is an overflow. You'll discharge your element.
It's a good movie.
Strike the Earth, unleashing a localized tremor and a 5-foot burst and 30 feet. 5-foot burst is 4 squares. Each creature in the area takes 2d4 bludgeoning damage, the same amount as the Air Boomerang, with a basic Fortitude save. If they critically fail, they fall prone, and that ground that just got hit is difficult terrain until the start of your next turn.
So this is like a lot of terrain management.
Yeah.
There's a lot of making difficult terrain. Tremor, again, you've got a good AoE. You can, and it's just, you don't have to worry about the line friendly fire either. This is just punch, this is tiny fireball. You just punch ground and just on people, and it just knocks a bunch of dudes over and does some damage. Yeah, that's the sound it makes when the rocks come up.
Notoriously, the fire sound again is a small meow.
The earth sound
Is a wet raspberry. Yes.
that is the 4 first level Earth
Sweet.
impulses. So you would again focus exactly on Earth, get 3 of those. This is the first one I feel like I super see the value in the universal thing, because geologic attunement and stepping stones could both be extremely useful to pull out after like your morning preparations if
Right.
you
Yeah.
knew there was something that'd be useful
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
for going either up or down respectively.
When you do the stair thing, can you destroy the stairs behind you without destroying the entire staircase?
The stairs are an independent thing. So, wait, hold on. What do you mean?
Like, okay, so say you're in a fight and you're getting a little overwhelmed. Could you just make a pillar up and then just stay up there and cut off the stairs so you can
You
just
can't
chill
destroy
for a
them
second?
intentionally. They last
Okay.
like a round.
Okay.
Some enemies could also follow you up it.
like
And it will like fall apart eventually, but you don't have direct control over when it drops.
That you could just build a Minecraft staircase up and then
just
destroy
pillar
the
up.
couple
Yeah.
others
We've
so they
established that
couldn't make it.
Pathfinder is just Minecraft. So
Yeah.
you just pillar straight up and
Yes.
you're good to go.
When are we going to fight the Ender Dragon on stream? In
There is
Pathfinder?
always a
There's
dragon.
always one dragon.
Isn't it? I
Okay.
want the Ender Dragon.
So, max level Capstone Earth feats, we have Rebirth in Living Stone and The Shattered Mountain Weeps.
These all, I don't know about
My
these
album
names.
name. I dropped that my next album.
The Shattered Mountain
The Shattered
Weeps.
Mountain Weeps.
Okay, first of all, what do we think the Shattered Mountain Weeps does?
I don't know. It's
Weeps.
beautiful.
You think it like,
Brings a tear to my eye. I'm also.
if I had to guess what the feat is, Shattered Mountain Weeps, I have no idea.
I think
That's a great guess.
that's a really good guess.
What's your guess?
I'm guessing you create a mountain and cause an avalanche.
I've looked at it, so I can't say
Yeah,
anything.
you can't say anything.
Don't you say a
I mean,
word.
that
Sully.
was kind of going to be my guess, was just going to make a mountain and then, and it rains. Rocks.
A massive sphere of rock appears overhead and then explodes in a cataclysm of falling debris and deadly shrapnel.
That's a mixture of what we both said.
No.
I hear that.
You know I had that.
It's a 20-foot burst, so it's going to be 40 feet across within 120 feet. Anything in the area takes 9d10 bludgeoning damage with a basic fortitude save. On a regular failure, they're knocked prone. For the next minute, rock continues to rain down, making the area difficult to rain and dealing another 2d10 damage to any creature, ending its turn in the area.
Wow.
So the wind one, the 2 wind attacks was also a sphere, and then was that the other?
There was an
one a
aura
line?
around you, and it was a little bubble of infinite falling.
So this one
is
is-
a much larger bubble of a crap ton of damage.
Is the other one also the other level 20 also an aura?
No.
Or level 18? Okay.
The other one, Rebirth and Living Stone, rock overflows from within you to consume your form before cracking open to reveal your body transformed into living stone. You get 40 temporary hit points. Temporary hit points are, think of it like an overshield from Halo, basically. They just go away before your actual health does.
We got that in D&D too.
You are immune to critical hits.
Ooh, That's pretty
and
good.
precision damage. You are immune to being pushed, pulled, or tripped while standing on earth or stone. Your elemental blast now deals D10 instead of D8. While in this form, you can gather element to gather earth as a free action at the start of every turn. This lasts until the end of your next turn, but can be sustained.
That seems quite cool.
That's why wouldn't you want to be Iron Man? Like you just become Iron Man. Like you just cocoon into Iron
What
Man.
is that? There's already that. What is the rock dude from the Fantastic Four?
The Thing.
The Thing. You just become the thing.
Yeah, basically the thing. It's worth noting that this does then immediately, this is an 18th level feat, it immediately scales at level 20. So over the course of 2 levels, you go from a D8 damage die to a D10 damage die to a D12.
Oh.
This gives you great sword punches at level 20.
Yeah.
As well as giving you 50 temporary hit points instead of 40.
And immune to crits too.
And
Immune to
completely
crits is
immune to critical
really
hits.
neat.
So
Is there anything else that makes you immune to crits?
immune, not that I know of. A greater fortification is like a 1 in 5 chance to ignore a crit. And that's because it's like a DC 16 flat check, I think.
That's pretty wild.
Might be DC 15, might be a 30% chance. This is carte blanche immunity. You can't be crit, period.
That's
And it's only a 2 action.
That's crazy.
So it's pretty good.
That's wild at super high
that's
level.
only 2 actions too.
This is 2 actions. It is an overflow, so you will blast away your element, but at the start of your next turn, you can bring it back for free.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So Earth can, in fact, get very tanky.
Yeah.
You're immune. You can get immune to crits. You can get your shield, which at level 20, by its just native passive scaling. Let's see, 1, 3. How many odd numbers are there in there? 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. 9 times. You get 27. Your shield will have 33 hardness by level 20, which is pretty bonkers. That means you will literally eat 33 damage from every attack because you can block every attack. Because you'll lose your element and then you gather it for free again at the start of your next turn. So, well, not every attack, but like once per round, of course.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's so tanky. This is also a Kineticist ability that has no limit. This gives you 40 or 50 temp hit points, and as soon as it's knocked out, you can just do it again.
That's so cool. That's super
You're
neat.
Oh my
standing
gosh.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you're in that fight.
Once they get through your temp hit points, just drop it and pull it back. You get
That's
the
pretty
temp
sweet.
hit points back.
And on
That's pretty
top of
awesome.
also the 30 from the shield. So you're
Yeah.
getting like 80,
cow.
like
You
up to
can
80
be
damage blocked.
extremely tanky as an Earth Kineticist.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's wild. You are
That's
a wall.
insane.
Shout out to the Earth.
You are a wall. It was underwhelming at
love
level
her
1,
work.
but like we got there. We found it. We found the path, guys.
Who chose Earth? Did any of us choose to say we want to be Earth? Okay, so all right, you're our fighter.
Bryn's the
Nobody
wall.
chose air.
Forgot
Bryn's the wall.
this is like
No
my
one on Earth can
spirit
make it
animal.
fall. All right. Fire. So our 4 first level impulses. The first one is Burning Jet. A condensed burst of flame shoots behind you, propelling you forward with its sheer force.
That sounds so
Wait,
rad.
that's
shoot-
so cool.
You shoot up to 40 feet in a straight line that does not trigger any reactions. It's too
So
fast
first
for
of
people to
all, I
react
was
to.
So sick.
I was getting ready to like totally poo
that
poo
a
this
jetpack?
entire fire thing, but
It's
like
a-
actually it's super cool.
That's so tight. That sounds so even flavor wise.
Yeah, that's
It
so
is
neat.
40 feet, up to 40 feet, so you don't have to slam yourself into a wall. Up to 40 feet, straight line, no attacks opportunity, no nothing.
Is that one? That's one
That is
action.
2 actions.
Okay, that's fine.
That's pretty cool.
You could also use that then, because none of these abilities themselves
Yeah.
do not trigger reactions. They don't have any concentrate or manipulate traits. You can also use this to just buy and just jet away from people
That's so
Oh, yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
and disengage from anything.
Yo, fire's rad so far. I'm so glad I stuck with him.
At level 6, the 40 becomes 60. Instead of striding, you can choose to go 40 feet in any direction. So now it's rocket jumping.
So it is a jetpack.
It is now a jet. If you're in the air at the end of the movement, you then fall like normal. But you can
So I can go up.
you can go straight up. and then you can take 40 falling damage.
Yeah.
Worth it. Absolutely worth it.
You could shoot straight up, and then you would probably be using the grab an edge reaction, which is a thing that exists to like grab something at the top, because it's like an uncontrolled Giga Blast.
Okay, so say there's like a flying dude up there. Could I rocket up and use my reaction to grab him?
That would be so cool.
Sock him.
Yeah, if I just grab him, I just start wailing on the dude from 60 feet in the air or whatever.
At level
At
1?
level 10, you hover briefly at the end of your launch. So at level 10, yes, you don't fall until the end of your next turn.
Perfect. So you could fly back down fine then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, then if you jet again, you stay in the air. So at level 10, you can shoot up. You have an action to punch somebody. Next round, you can punch them again, then just like down to the ground, or whatever you want to do with it, or you just fall. So it
At
is.
level 1, just having that much movement is pretty good.
That would have been great in our one shot.
You just shot across the thing. Absolutely,
probably
shot right across the creek. Like, I'm in there now.
Here, where's the leech?
Yeah.
Would have been super great in the one adventure you guys have played. Second one, Eternal Torch.
Yo.
This sounds like I'm about to be blown away by the concept of holding a torch, but you don't have to hold a torch.
It's a flashlight.
Choose a target creature or object.
Is it a flashlight?
It's powered by
You
Duracell.
pick a target creature or object you can touch. You create a torch-like flame that either orbits a creature or emits light from an object. It emits light for an unlimited duration. It's as bright and hot as a torch. The flame kit has a Corsair RGB integration. If the target's a weapon, the fire, you can attack with the fire, but it's like you're swinging with an improvised weapon because you're trying to hit them with a weird fireball. It's revolving on your sword, and it's not super intuitive. You can have a number of eternal torches equal to your level.
So is it just like light, but like
Its light was
light, but
fancy.
it burns.
Its light was hot.
Human Torch.
Yeah, it's
We're slowly building the Fantastic Four. Can the air one turn you invisible? Because then we're solid.
That's the only thing that's strange to me because the fire ability is super, super cool. But why isn't the flying an air ability?
I'm sure Air did. The lightning crown gave you flight too, and we just looked at the 1 and the
20.
highest level.
Yeah.
There's probably regular flight in there somewhere too.
Or 18.
Flame Eruption. With an upward gesture, you shape a vertical column of spiraling flames. It's 5 feet, so 1 square. It's 30 feet high. The bottom has to be within 30 feet of you. Every creature in the area, we have an upwards line, takes 1d6 fire damage with a reflex save. It remains briefly, making all squares in the column hazardous terrain until the start of your next turn. Creature takes 1 fire damage each time it moves into one of these squares.
how many squares?
Well, it would be 6, but they're vertical.
Ah, okay.
So fire's good against flying enemies.
Fire doesn't seem like it likes things that fly. Fire does not like air very much. Fire would like air to get the fuck back down here.
That makes sense. Fire consumes oxygen, so
That's the logic we're going with.
that's what I'm going. Yeah, I don't like air.
Okay. The last one is Warming Nimbus. This is your aura. Waves of pleasant warmth flow from you.
Oh.
Countering the cold or magically sheltering against the heat. Choose cold or fire. All creatures with the kinetic aura get resistance equal to your level to either cold or fire.
That's cool.
What does Nimbus mean?
It's like
Isn't
a
that
Halo kind of thing.
Isn't that a Harry
Like
Potter?
It is Nimbus 2000.
Yeah, that's
or whatever.
the-
It's a type of cloud
Broomsticks.
also. It's
Yeah,
the
but
Harry
like,
Potter one's probably the type of cloud, I would imagine.
yeah. Okay, I looked
But
at
Nimbus
warming
is also
Nimbus.
like a
It's
Halo.
not a
or
cloud,
Halo.
dude. It's a broom. Come on, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, one of these is
Wait,
super awesome.
before you go look
and the
at
other 3 are also there.
Yeah, the other three
fire
are
and cold
like
resistance
super.
isn't bad. But like,
Those
put on a
are
sweater.
more situational, but
These ones are-
that first one is super versatile, and that's like
Burning
Yeah.
Jet.
Wait, don't go-
Burning Jet is a strong candidate for the one that you take if you're a universalist and aren't sure what you're doing that day.
Yeah.
Strong argument for just Burning Jet being the default.
Yeah. Okay, so before you go down to the 18th, you actually got to scroll very carefully and just look at the name because it's important.
Okay. Well, you want me to just read a random selection of names?
No, you got to go down to the level 18th, but don't read the level 18th one.
Not read the feats. I just want to read the names. Okay.
Yeah.
someone in chat said at higher level, air can make you permanently invisible.
It could in first edition, so I'm not surprised.
So we are building the Fantastic Four.
The first-
It's a lot stretching on water here.
The invisible.
18th level fire impulse. All shall end in flames.
Yes, dude, are you kidding me? Of course I want to be the most metal man alive. So rad.
It's just Asmodan from Diablo.
I'm gonna have Dio playing the entire time.
Okay, I haven't read it. What do you think all shall end in flames do? I'm guessing it is going to be a much larger area than the previous ones of just fire damage. Kind of akin to the Weeping Mountain thing.
Yeah, what
but
is that?
Wider and more focused on the sustained damage than the upfront is my guess.
That's my immediate instinct, is like similar to the Weeping Mountain, but I wouldn't think that it would be coming down. For some reason, I think
It could be like, yeah, the air
I think it'd be
gen.
bursting from the person. I think it's just like an AoE from the person.
I think it's going to explode.
Yeah.
I think it could be like, what is that barbarian stomp where like a nearby village bursts into flame?
Earthquake.
Yeah.
They literally just cast Earthquake by stomping really hard, yeah.
Yeah, like that, but like
That's
with
barbarian
fire.
ability.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's got like it has like a 4-mile range or something.
Yeah, it's
So you're just
crazy.
like, that town over there. Pretty sure that innkeeper ripped me off.
You could
Gone.
a barbarian could
gotta
level
keep
a
playing.
city.
Oh yeah.
I want little guy to stop
Okay.
and destroy a city.
It would be perfect.
White hot fire consumes everything in a cataclysmic sphere of death.
Sick.
The fire fills your choice of a 30-foot burst within 500 feet or a 30-foot emanation. So you either blow up an area or you blow up.
That's so
it's
tight.
either. This deals 7d10 fire damage, basic reflex save. It has the death trait because anyone dropped to 0 dies instantly, reduced to a pile of ash. They don't go down, they are
Just the
vaporized.
disintegrate spell.
So because that happens
They're
like
cremated, dog.
wait, doesn't that happen automatically for enemies
That's
anyway?
the
So
way.
is this like an ally ability? Why they spelled it out?
If you kill yourself
Oops.
with this impulse, you return to life at the start of your next turn in the same space with
I-
hit,
Rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
with hit points equal to double your level.
Whoa. So you want to like play?
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a lot. 36
Well,
hit
that's
points
not a
is pretty
ton.
small.
But if you
at
were
18th
low
level.
already,
But like if you had less than that,
But yeah, if you keep
Yeah.
doing that, then you keep coming back and nobody's gonna damage you on that round. Like so, if
you are gone. You are not
Yeah.
a target. That's true.
Yeah. So you
You're
can
like,
just
I'll be back. Boom.
give me 6 seconds.
How many times can you do that?
This is a kineticist power. It is unlimited.
So you
No
could-
kineticist powers have the limits.
So you could just keep exploding and then you disappear.
It is
and
3
then you come back
actions.
and explode again.
It is 3 actions. When you come back, you would have to gather your element again, which means you would not be able to gather it and immediately blow up. But you could gather it and blow up the next turn.
Yeah.
So you
How
got
many
like 6
actions?
seconds on,
You
6
have a
seconds
little
off.
coffee
6
break.
seconds on.
Yeah.
How many actions does it take to regain to get your elements back? Oh, so you could do that, move away, and then
Or
explode
or move
again.
towards them.
But you can't.
They're
blowing up is
scared of you now.
like, oh no, oh no. How much that guy killed himself? He's not even afraid of us killing him.
How is he back?
Oh, you killed that guy. You disintegrated his own body. Why is he here? Oh my God. Oh, the next one is called Ignite the Sun.
If we do Path, I'm not doing this class. I'm doing fire classes. This is awesome. I punched my microphone. I'm so excited.
Ignite the Sun. I'm putting my hand over this because it's the next column, so I'm not looking at it.
ignite. I don't know how you get more
I
fire.
am
Then the
gonna
sun.
guess
Do you pull the
this
sun
is
down?
a buff.
Oh, it could be.
Oh.
I think this is a buff. I think you are going to become the sun. It's going to emanate out from you. The god of fire and the god of healing are the same god in Pathfinder. I think you might put out waves of healing, or the god of sun and the god of fire are the same god. You might put out healing. You're almost certainly going to put out resistance. You might give like a defensive bonus to your allies that are near you.
I think you look at the sun and you yank it down. I think you.
That would be
blow
so
the sun.
cool. Gravity all out of whack. Everything is destroyed.
These names are amazing.
They're
You were
amazing.
doing some sick Mortal Kombat fatality things. You're just pulling this down.
My chat is telling me that the action of gathering element is a free action at 19.
Oh, okay.
Which means you
So
could
at 20,
immediately
you-
blow back up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What is it called? Something like that?
That's
doing
crazy.
this.
They would have
Ignite
to
the
like
sun.
ready an attack to punch you as you reform.
Yeah.
Because you can just
There's
blow
no
right
way
back
they
up.
know it the first round.
No, the first
Like-
time, absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
If you do it a third time, they're like,
Hold on.
maybe I'll just wait for him.
I'm imagining their like back is turned and you just pop out of the ash and tap them on the shoulder and you're like, hey man.
What is... We'll come back to this. What do you guys? What do you two think?
I think that it's
Ignite the
like
sun.
the stone man, but you become the sun. You become mana fire.
Oh,
You
that would be
flame on.
really
You
good.
Flame,
Yeah,
you get like
yeah,
fly
yeah,
speed,
yeah,
like change
yeah,
your
yeah,
attacks
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Okay.
I like her
Battle
idea
form,
better than
kinda
mine,
like
so
a
I'm going
rock
to take
guy.
yours.
Okay.
I like her idea, so I'm going to. I like your idea, so I'm just going to take yours.
I'm going to do this one too because I want to be the Fantastic Four. Because then we can flame on. Like we just
the water class
fires-
needs to be real bendy.
The fires of creation become yours to control. You create a miniature sun in a 5-foot burst.
That's closer.
So
That
4
was close.
squares
That was close.
within 500 feet. It sheds bright light for 500 feet. Every creature within 500 feet
Oh my
takes
gosh.
4d6 fire damage with a reflex save. The sun continually channels fire into you and your allies. You and your allies within 20 feet of the sun deal an extra d6 fire damage with all of your strikes, any spells that do fire damage, or any impulses that deal fire damage except ignite the sun itself.
So the sun doesn't harm you or your allies.
Absolutely does.
But wait, you said you get it.
You also-
you take the damage
You,
first.
you
but
take the
then
damage and then you get a buff.
Okay. So if you hey, now here's another mental picture I have. If you know an enemy's in a small house, you can just put the sun in the house.
For reference, 4d6 is an extremely small amount of damage at level 18. That's
Yeah.
like,
Are they blinded? Like if you put the sun
it's
there.
bright light. Bright light's like normal daylight.
Okay.
So it's not like blind. Oh, I mean, I don't know. There might be. I haven't seen it. There's nothing blinding yet. Let's see. So the sun lasts till the end of your next turn, but you can sustain it. The first time you sustain the impulse each round, you can choose to increase the size of the sun by 5. Oh, no, people in the sun take 4d6 damage.
Oh, okay.
Not in the light. So everyone within the burst.
That's what, okay, that makes sense.
So you can make, and anyone near the sun gets buffs. All your allies near the sun gets buffs. The first time you sustain this impulse each round, you can make the sun 5 feet bigger, and you can make the sun fly up to 30 feet. Any creature takes damage from the sun when the sun moves through it, or they end their turn in the sun. Creatures can only take damage from the sun once per round, so you can't just like slap somebody with it 6 times, flying back and forth.
Okay, so that's cool then. Moving the sun around to do some light.
Yeah, it would be like a don't stand here kind of.
It's a little area denial. You can, and you choose both. You can make it bigger and you can fly it. You don't have to do either. If smaller sun works better for you, this is Flaming Sphere's dad. There's a 3rd level spell called Flaming Sphere.
Yeah,
it's very similar. You
Got
make-
that in 5e too.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
This is Flaming Sphere's dad. This is what it sounds like.
Papa.
The damage is very low. 4d6 really like it.
not
Yeah, we
at
have-
18th level, enemies are going to have 400 to 600 hit points. 4d6 is like 10.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
13.
That's why I asked if there's a blinded effect. That I feel like that would be worth it. Then.
Yeah, it just
But-
says the damage, right? Just
Yeah,
damage and buff.
4d6 is basically nothing, and then all your allies get an extra d6 damage on everything. So
That
like you
seems
are adding like a d6 to every hit everybody makes. It's definitely gonna like add up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take credit for being the most right. The buff seems to be the part of this that
Yeah.
matters.
First of all, he pulled down the sun.
I said the
No,
sun.
you make a
This is
different
pulling
sun. That's a
the
different thing.
sun.
Okay, first of all, semantics here, but like I
It's
feel
modeled after our sun. Okay.
Inspired
Yeah.
by.
So
But
I get half credit.
to jump back a thought, because I wanted to get through that before we lost this train of thought forever. Speaking of dice, 7d10 fire damage is what your All Shall End in Flames do. So you get this at 18, you're standing up with 36 hit points. A d10 is 5.5 average, so 2d10 is 11, 6d10 is 33, 7d10 is like 38 and a half. You, on average, will kill yourself if you stand up and blow up again.
Yeah.
But even like going down to like the 40th percentile, you're gonna survive with a couple hit points and then go, oh no, and someone's gonna backhand you and you're gonna regular die.
That's when you hope you have made an impact.
Like, was it cool though? It was cool though, right?
Well, so if you, it doesn't say it destroys your items or anything, right? If you explode. So if you go in,
No, the creature drops to ashes, and you reform with all your stuff. So like,
so if you go in with like health potions, like you can pop up and do something.
well, I'm just talking like the repeated explosion thing.
Okay.
Would be like a coin flip. You could intentionally have a really bad reflex save so that you're more likely to fail this.
Yeah.
To take more damage, because like if you succeed at this save, there's no way you're going.
Imagine like discovering that for the first time if you didn't know it could happen.
Oh, the in-character
Like-
moments. The in-character, I have to, this is the only way. And just blowing up
Goodbye,
and
everybody.
dying. And like you're tearful goodbye, and then you stand back up.
Like,
Wait a second.
I'm awesome.
They're all like mourning. There's like a funeral.
Yeah.
They're mourning you.
yeah, exactly.
You just walk up to
Yeah.
a funeral.
It would be awesome.
So that leaves us just with water.
Vasa.
You better be able to stretch your body some way, somehow,
Yeah.
so we can complete the Fantastic
I
Four.
see a thing
you-
called water dance.
If
So
you
we'll
stretch
see where
for
this
10
goes.
minutes a day, they will be more flexible.
So here's our 4 options. First, Deflecting Wave is a reaction that would trigger if you would take acid, bludgeoning, fire, or slashing damage from pretty much anything. This is an overflow, so you can dispel your water as a reaction to this. The water you've gathered explodes into a wave that blunts or disperses the incoming attack. You get resistance to damage from the triggering effect equal to your level if it's bludgeoning or slashing, double your level if it's acid or fire.
Cool.
Cool.
Sick.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, it's not exploding and rebirthing.
Yeah, I'm
itself
like
or
looking for
anything.
big things here.
Jetting 40 feet in any direction.
Well,
and
as
doing
a
cool
first
punch.
level, like that's so
That's,
cool.
that's I mean, that's there.
I'm sticking with fire. If we do an Oops All Kinetic Masters,
I'm doing still
I'm
Earth.
doing that.
I love the Earth. I think
All
it's
right.
so cool.
Second, tidal hands. With an emphatic gesture, you create waves that rush out from you in the shape of your hands. Enemies, you either form 2 15-foot cones that
Ooh.
don't overlap, or you combine them into a 30-foot cone.
Oh dang!
Oh my
That's
gosh.
sick.
Every
Man, this
creature
AoE
in the
stuff?
wave takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage, basic reflex
At
save.
level 1.
That's giant.
Dang.
This is burning hands on crack.
Yeah.
This is because burning
Drowning
hands,
hands.
Is also 2d6 damage, but this is infinitely repeatable, and it's twice as big, or it's 2 of them. This
And it's shaped as a hand, so you can
and
just go
it's hands.
slapping
You
people.
can catch them.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Catch
gonna
these
catch them. Catch these waves, bro. Look at this icon flying out.
And loose.
Ooh.
I like
I
it.
think that and the Earth one was also really good, but this does twice as much damage as the Earth one. I
Yeah.
think that might be the best of the level 1 AoE abilities.
Probably,
Still a
yeah.
cone that has to come out of you, but it's
That's pretty
big
good,
enough
though.
that you can just say screw it and ream your entire party and have a great time while you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But 30 foot also like kind of gets you,
Cowabunga.
lets you get like back, and you have enough reach to like blast it past everybody.
If you gave people surfboards and you just started to, if you gave your allies surfboards and did that, they could get a free move. And they'd be fine.
Yes.
Water dance.
Yes.
A surging wave forms behind and around a creature, pushing it forward rapidly.
So you could
Target
totally-
a willing
Yeah.
creature within 30 feet. A wave appears behind it and lets them stride up to 30 feet.
What is that
Oh
move
my
called? Is that called
God.
Hang Loose?
That's water dance.
Okay, they should have called it Hang
They
Loose.
should have totally called it
Yeah.
hang loose.
Paizo, please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, like get with it. Get
If
with
you
the times.
target yourself, you can stride twice instead of once, but it's 2 actions. It does give you a +2 circumstance bonus to defenses against any reaction. So it's not fire jet where you're immune, but you get a little resistance to it. And it doesn't have to be a straight line. It's a full stride. You can do whatever you want.
Well, and it doesn't have to be you.
does not have to be you.
Yeah, you can do some friend
and
things.
you
What's the
to the-
distance on that? Like
30 feet. It's fixed. It's not based on their speed. So you could boost your slow friend.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I feel attacked. I feel like personally attacked here. Even though my speed was 15 feet, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Oh my god.
Well, I was like a
you okay?
really tanky paladin. And I had really heavy armor, and I did not take any speed feats. And it would take me like 3 or 4 rounds to get to the fight.
Speed scales. The speed scales with level. At level 19, when it's maxed, it is 60 feet.
Oh my god!
What's the range of you doing this though? Like, can you? Is it
Within 30. Within
so they
30
have to
of
be
you.
within 30 of you to do that?
Yeah, they start within 30 of you. They can move out of that 30, but they have to be within 30 for you to give them the wave.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And then they stride, so they pick where they go, not you. You can use in the water as well. Obviously, you're a hydromancer. You can, and in the water, it's 10 feet further.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty neat. Swimming
That's
good.
pretty neat. And that's level 1. I mean, so much movement related stuff is in this.
Okay. And we have Winter's Clutch, which is your aura. Flakes of chilling snow whirl around you. Any creature that enters the aura ends its turn there takes 1 cold damage. At the end of each of your turns, the snow in the area collects in a snowdrift. Choose 3 contiguous squares within the area to fill with snow. They are difficult terrain until the start of your next turn.
So each level 1 has a
Has an
movement
aura.
and a terrain affecting.
Yeah.
So this lets you put... This one's interesting because the earth one is a huge difficult terrain area, but it's for everybody. The air one is just insane.
Yeah.
Air one's the best one.
Yeah.
Definitely the
so
air one's the best of the
good.
auras. The snow one, you pick where the difficult terrain goes within the aura, and you also get a little bit of damage.
A little bit damage.
You touch. Just a little.
bit. A little.
Just one.
The idea of
The concept.
Yeah.
You make it a
You're
little
like-
uncomfortable more than really hurting them.
they don't feel comfortable in their skin
Yeah.
anymore.
You're like,
They're like, oh, it's a
"Ow."
little chilly. Can we turn the AC down?
Yeah.
Not enough to ask the host to change it, but
Yeah.
enough for you to be like, I don't like this.
It's enough for you to have entertain the thoughts, but not to actually.
Yeah.
It's not where. Not.
I've got to say that it would take me at least like 2d8 damage before I would ever consider talking to the host. Like 1 damage would be like,
I have to have frostbite in
Finger
my
would have to fall off.
before
like
I
no
think
joke.
about
That would,
anything.
yeah, it really would have to go very far.
Those are the 4 water ones. I think Tidal Hands and Water Dance are both fantastic, and the other 2 are both very weak.
Yeah.
Deflecting Wave and Winter's Clutch are both, I'm just going to say bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they're not
they
even like
seem- yeah.
situational. They just suck.
They just seem pretty useless generally.
But Water Dance and Tidal Hands are both
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
get,
Tidal Hands is probably one of the best level 1
Tidal Hands
feats.
is the best level 1 AoE in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's
so. Like,
contention.
I guess they had to like even it out a little bit.
That the movements abilities just for that is
Yeah.
taking for the
Well,
other two
the-
stinkers.
Yeah. Well, and the damage. Oh my gosh.
Go. Okay, this is 18th.
Okay,
So
18th.
18, our first one, you're going to love
You're
this.
gonna love it.
Ride the Tsunami.
Gnarly! Are you kidding me? This whole thing is a definition of gnarly.
I don't think we need to ask what we think this is going to do. I'm pretty sure all of our heads are generally in the same place at this
Yeah.
point. Booming, crashing walls of water smash out ahead of you, overwhelming all in their path. It is a 60-foot cone of 8d10 bludgeoning damage with a reflex save. Creature that fails gets knocked 10 feet back, 20 feet on a critical failure. Any unattended objects go all the way to the far end of the cone. As the tsunami crashes down, you can swim in a straight line to any point that it affected.
Oh my
Awesome.
god.
You
Awesome.
are Surfer Hebo ulting people.
That's so cool.
Ride a wave over their faces.
That's so fun.
That's pretty awesome.
Cool.
I like it.
Oh
That's
my
neat.
gosh. I love that.
Our last one is Usurp the Lunar Reins.
The lunar rings?
Usurp the
Rein.
lunar reins, like the reins of a horse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do we think? What do we think it does?
Well,
What do we think it does?
title, I assume, is referring to the moon. So I'm gonna
I think this time you pull the moon down. I think it was the sun for that one. I think the moon comes down for this.
You may take control of gravitational pull.
Yeah,
I
it's
wonder if
something
this
with
is straight
tides.
gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Maybe you can.
Your girlfriend turns into the moon.
Yes. Of course, man-child. Oh my
That's
god.
rough, buddy.
Rough.
Honestly,
Rough.
I liked the other girl that he went with more. The Suki, was that her name?
Warpaint girl? Yeah, I
Yeah.
never know her name either.
I think it's Suki. I like Suki more than Moon Girl. I'm so proud
Well,
of
that's
the Moon
only
Girl and her
because Suki
sacrifice.
is incredible. Like, Suki is super cool.
Suki.
I also liked Suki better.
Yeah,
Alright.
she gets her own movie, doesn't she? I think she's getting her own
She's
movie.
getting a movie or a
comic or something.
So usurp the lunar reigns.
He's like, stop geeking out, weirdos.
You
Let's just
can
make an Avatar fan cast.
Yeah.
fully create water and control the tides,
Oh
subverting even the moon's sovereignty. In a 20-foot burst, 40 feet across, within 120 feet, you manipulate or create water in your choice the following ways. You can raise or lower the level of water in an area by 10. It can start at 0. You can raise it to 10. You can create a pool of pure, clean water. Or you can make
Y'all wanna go
water
swimming?
that is already in an area turbulent or calm. This can reduce difficult terrain to calm water, turn greater difficult terrain to difficult terrain, or turn calm water into difficult terrain, but it can't turn difficult terrain into greater difficult terrain.
Okay, so we have like Super Saiyan World Explosion, and then it's like, y'all want to go swimming today?
Yeah, that's like, hey, I made a kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Woo.
You know how many people?
That's another super specific scenario
So you could-
where if
yeah.
you're
Well,
doing
you're-
ship combat, then that
you're
would be
like,
super
well,
helpful.
could you-
at 18th level, so like there are dragons. They like people fly.
Well, you'll distract them with your kiddie pool, and they're like, you know, red dragons can't resist splashing around in a kiddie pool. This is a
They're
commonly
like,
known weakness.
So you could raise from 0 to 10 feet.
I assume so, because you can create it from nothing
So you could just make any fight an underwater fight
within
I mean,
a
except for
20-foot
people-
burst. So,
Within-
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
if you were in an area small enough to contain it, because it is just water.
yeah.
So once you conjure it, it's then going to just,
Whoosh. Yeah.
like, if it's just like in a
If
field
you were
or
like
something.
in a castle,
Yeah, I'm thinking if you're in a
Yeah.
room, you could slowly fill a room up with water. But that would
Yeah.
take if it's 10 feet per round, that's going to take a long time.
well, that seems underwhelming.
Or I guess
Yeah.
the benefit.
I mean,
would
Ride the
be,
Tsunami was freaking awesome. So like,
Yeah.
it's
the
okay.
benefit is you have more movement speed in water. So if you fill a room with water, you would have like total
Yeah,
control
super.
over everywhere around
Yeah.
you.
That's
True.
true.
Yeah. Huh.
Indoors, it could be really good,
Yeah.
I guess.
And then if you
But
make the
everybody
water,
else
then
in
you can
your-
make everything difficult terrain too.
That's
yeah, but
true.
like also for like your people. So like can like your people better be
Well, you
Yeah, you
push
guys
them
better
where they
be
need
good
to
at
go.
swimming.
Yeah.
You better be like trained in scuba or something.
Well, can you select the difficult terrain? Because then you could just make it around like where the enemy is.
You make
Well, I mean,
the
it's
area
water.
difficult terrain or
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
It's the full 20-foot burst.
You're just like filling the room with water. So hopefully everybody else in your crew is just like, I
Maybe
too
the-
am swimming.
Yeah, I don't know
There's an
about that one,
ability you
Chief.
get that gives like other people around you.
I feel like I've been whelmed by water, and I'd like to change
Yeah.
my choice to earth because
I want to go air.
I'm sick and fire.
Air,
That sounds
Air's
so
level
fun.
1 powers are
I really like
crazy.
Yeah.
They're-
That was my second.
That
I
Air
like Earth a
aura
lot.
is bananas. It's so good.
I'll take just like blowing kisses for damage if I get to do that. Like
It's
Having
D4, so that's about how much damage.
seriously.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not even
it's
magic. That's just actually what you're doing.
Yeah. The I don't know, the getting 50 temp points per turn as a
Earth?
Earth guy is so cool. And also being
Right, yeah.
immune to crits. Like that's incredible. There's like nothing else that
Yeah. I feel like it's wild that water is kind of the obvious downer of the group since like
Well, a lot of waters were really good, but a lot of them were really not good.
Yeah.
I
So
really
like,
expected water to have healing of some kind.
Yeah.
it might. We only looked at the bottom and the top.
That might be
So-
also my Avatar Last Airbender mind because the water tribes.
well, that's kind of the
are
thing that
tribes.
surprised me because like in comparison at least to like the other things we read.
Air just straight up gets flying at 8. You get wings of air
Oh,
at 8.
perfect. I'm gonna be
Sweet.
set. I'm a zoom.
So we're the
Take to the
Fantastic
sky.
Three, and then one wet guy
Yeah.
is also there.
So you want to know as healing?
What? Fire?
Earth.
Oh.
well, I guess I'm
That
a little bit of a
actually makes
tank.
sense.
Restoring
not.
restoring mud at 4. You fling a ball
Yeah,
of healing
mud
mud
baths,
at one
guys.
creature within 30 feet.
Hello.
Upon impact, the mud coats their body, healing wounds and leaving behind a thin shell of mud that protects them. They get 2d6 hit points and 2 temporary hit points.
This is great.
And that scales.
So like
That's not too bad. That's not bad. That's a pretty good one.
That's great because again, these are infinitely then they're immune to healing mud for 10 minutes.
oh.
So
That's good to get somebody up and let them be able to get out. too,
yeah.
if you get those 10 hit points.
Right.
I thought it would make like a rock cast, like a broken arm.
Yeah. No, just the mud. Just the mud.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I like the earth stuff. That seems interesting. It seems to be basically like my current character.
I'm sticking with fire. That sounds so fun to explode
14th,
like that.
14th level, Earth gets assume Earth's mantle, which makes you large and then makes it so you're functionally wearing full plate because it gives you the armor bonus from full plate. So circumventing, but you're still unarmed or unarmored or light armored, so kind of circumventing that, which is pretty neat. And it actually becomes at level 18 +6. There is no +6 armor in the game. So that is stronger armor than anybody else can possibly acquire. That said, I'm assuming they're not going to get to master armor or legendary armor proficiency. So I'm still sure they're not going to be getting up to like champion or monk AC.
Yeah.
But they will get pretty good. You can also make a golem.
It's a little friend.
It's Minecraft.
You can make a little friend. You can make this. You can have a son.
My boy. If I keep playing Pathfinder, I'm going to be the father of so many weird little guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it is just Earth
Interesting.
that has. Oh, nope. Water does have healing. And it's a AoE. Healing wave splashes across creatures in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area gets 3d6 hit points and can attempt a new save against a poison or disease afflicting it. If they fail, it doesn't get worse. It can only succeed.
Oh, neat.
That's cool.
And it has the same 10-minute cooldown thing that the mud did, so you can't just like spam it. So Earth and water both get a bit of healing.
Cool.
So notably, before we finish this here, because I'm not going to read through all the class feats and everything. I want
That
to look
would
at
be a lot of reading.
a lot of reading. I want to look at the Kinesis Capstone, so the actual level 20 class feats
Okay.
that you're going to be picking one of. The first of them, I think, is super interesting for a lot of the conversations we've already had. Flawless element. Pick one element, any impulses of that element that take 3 actions, now take 2.
Oh, sweet.
My
That could
exploding
use a
guy
good-
is gonna be amazing.
Now you can move and explode.
Yeah. Now I can't chase after them and
Run.
explode.
You can drop the third action. And the other one is Omnikinesis, which lets you change your free daily feat as an action.
Oh,
Oh, neat.
that's
Sweet.
really
You
cool.
can take any power in the game, one action to assume it.
Cool.
Well, to learn it, and then you still have to do whatever you have to do to do it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You got to pick between those two.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard, actually. Those are
Yeah.
pretty good. Those are pretty neato.
I've built my maniac exploding man. He's
Yeah, see, I have the problem. The second one also requires like forethought. So, or like anything.
That's a
Choice
man
is
chop
easy for
feat.
brain.
That's a man shot thing.
That's a
I'm
Nick
like,
feat.
I would have to know all the other ones and then not slow down combat for everyone for like 45 minutes trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing. So probably
You bust
the
out a
first
whole
one.
book of feats.
Yeah.
So notably, also a lot of the class feats require you to be dedicated, dual, or universal.
Oh, that makes
so
sense.
they
That
are
makes sense.
also changing how your character progresses. For instance, I'm just looking at 6th level here. If you have a dedicated gate, which means you only have one element, and that's a choice you make a character creation that you cannot change, whether you are a 1, 2, or 4 gate kineticist.
you have 2 of them. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you only have one, the feat you can get is Stoke Element, which is one action to feed more elemental power to the element you've gathered, causing it to grow more potent. This is, you can't use another impulse this turn, but the first time you use one on your next turn, oh my god, this is one you gather power. The first time you use one on your next turn, there's a damage roll. You get a +2 status bonus to the damage, +4 if it's an overflow.
Yeah, so you can just
this is
build.
the one you stand there screaming in the corner.
Build.
You have to have a dedicated gate for that. If you have the 2 or the 4 as one action, you have 2 elements dance in quick succession. In either order, you can make an elemental blast and gather an element. You have to gather a different element than the one you currently have. So, and that's one action. So you can start a fight, pick up your element and shoot it as one action. That's like quick draw for kineticists. Or you
Yeah.
can change elements and shoot it. Or you can shoot and change if you want to do something else afterwards. Because you have a little more flexibility to flow through your different elements that you have available. That's neat. That's neat how they kind of go. They build into things. What are like some high level choices that make you pick between them? Oh, here we go. Level 10, there is a specific feat for each. Dedicated Gate is a reaction that lets you counterspell anything that targets you that has a trait that is your element. So if somebody tries to fireball you and you are a fire kineticist, you just know.
Like, no, thank you.
I eat that for breakfast.
Yeah,
If you
exactly. That is
counteract
me.
if you counteract that, you catch it and you now have the element gathered.
Oh, that's sick.
Like, that's fine. Thanks. Thanks for powering me up, Chief.
That's super cool.
That's
actually.
pretty neat.
The dual gate one is Fusion Blast.
Yo.
2 actions already have to be gathered. You get the other element in your other hand. This is Complex Blasts for money. You get the other element in the other hand, and then you make an elemental blast that uses the die. It's both. It uses both dice. It's literally just a combo blast. So like an earth and water would just be 2d8. An earth and fire would be d8 plus d6.
Fling mud or warm mud.
So
or
you,
like
you could do
warmer.
like magma at that point then.
Basically, they had combo elements for basically all of that. Like there was steam kineticist and magma kineticist and all that in 1E. Now it's just you get a double blast. And there might be, again, this is just a playtest, so there could be a lot more to this. And this is basically power attack because it's 2 actions. It's basically power attack. You don't get to level 10.
If someone were to throw like an alchemy fire thing, would you be able to counteract that as well, or is it only
It is
spells?
for that reaction. It's any effect with the trait matching the element you can channel. They can throw an alchemist fire at you. Can just mine.
Super cool.
That's super cool.
Doesn't have to be magical. That literally means you can catch other kineticists' blasts. You can catch. Well, you have to counteract the effects. So it has to be something that's counteractable, which means if someone swings a flaming longsword at you, you can't catch the sword, but you can turn the flaming enough.
Oh, sweet.
But you still
And then you're just getting hit with a regular sword,
Yeah.
which is like
Right,
better
yeah.
probably.
But you also still get the element then, so you don't have to charge up, right?
Yeah, you just steal off their sword.
Yeah.
Dragon breath.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Well, it has to target you. So actually, it couldn't be like fireball or a dragon breath. It has to be something that's like targeting you, not just like a huge ambient effect around you. So like a dragon that breeds lasers that are single target, which is definitely is very much a thing in Pathfinder. Some of them do
There's
that.
laser dragons.
Some of them just go pew.
Like a rave?
Are there rave dragons?
Rave dragon?
Rave
I
dragons?
would argue many dragons are rave dragons.
I thought you were saying wraith, and I'm like,
And the universal one is gather amalgamation. Your inner gate briefly divides itself into 4 smaller channels. You gather. This is the RuneScape magic ult. You gather all 4 elements of air, earth, fire, and water with the same effects and restrictions as gather element, but your hand has an amalgamation of all 4 or directs them to orbit your body. You can use it for any impulse. However, the smaller amount of each individual element means any impulse will cause that element to dissipate from the amalgamation. So the 2 actions, you pull up on everything, and then you can do any of your skills. But each one you use is going to pull that element out.
So you go in the avatar state then.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then you get like 1 earth, 1 fire, 1 water, 1 air. And then you have to gather again.
gotcha. So
And
it's
you
just
can
a
just
saving,
amalgamation
it's just
gather
an
again.
efficient way of gathering.
But it discharges on anything, not just overflows. So like anything you use.
okay.
I mean, it would probably be best to use a bunch of overflows on this because those are going to discharge you anyway.
Yeah.
It seems neat.
Yeah. Seems super neat.
Kineticist do seem like is pretty neat. The iconic Kineticist now, by the way, is like 14.
Does seem that way.
She didn't used to be, I'm pretty sure. So,
She's 14 years old, you mean?
I mean, look at her.
okay, so like, I don't want to sound bad, but like also, we all know that the silky smooth skin of some of my Asian friends, they look much younger than they are.
This is a child. This is not just she's from Tianjin. This is definitely she has a stuffed animal on her shoulder.
Okay,
that
like
what that
this is that?
I have it right in front of me. so-
Okay,
yeah.
you got it directly in
Laptop
front of you.
version,
It's
yeah.
across the room for us.
She's got a stuffed owl on her shoulder.
Oh, it's an owl. I thought it was like back to Pokemon. I thought it was like Shaman, like the little like bush hedgehog.
No, it's got like one of them little stitchy eyes with the button fell off. Like, this is a child.
Cute. I like her.
This
Fine.
is
I like
definitely
her
a
too.
child.
I like the art. I think it's really cool.
I thought it was a potato.
That was a potato.
I could see potato. But unless we want to read through literally every feat and ability in here, that's more or less the Kineticist that's going to be coming out, at least the playtest version of it. It sounds like it's going to be pretty neato.
That sounds rad. How do these exit playtests? Like, do they release books with them in it?
Yes. So what'll happen is this playtest will be like active, which means they'll be receiving feedback and everything for it for probably a month or two. And then it's going to be the Rage of the Elements book, which is, I want to say, like December. Source, I literally just pulled that out of my butt. I have no idea when. I know it's in Rage of the Elements. It's going to come out, and it's going to add this and Shaman. And I'm not sure if they're doing Shaman in a separate playtest or what exactly the plan is there. But then when this fully releases, we will have Juna and the Kineticist.
Someone
That's
says
super
summer
cool.
2023.
Summer 2023. I was way off. It is.
You've teased me.
I'm sorry. It's
I got
significantly
so excited for the
longer.
end of this year.
It's significantly longer than I
You
thought it
ruined
was.
my Christmas.
So we have approximately 1 year, and then we'll get our.
And then,
Kineticist
I mean,
and
if we
Shaman.
start planning now, we should be able to have character art done by then.
That's true. We might actually be ready for a campaign if we start putting it together right now.
Just imagine us having everything ready.
That I don't even know if we could do within a year because we'd probably just forget half of it anyways.
What? No. We got this is ironclad locked down. The internet will remember.
We started with 3 of our 4 microphones turned on. Like, we got this. We are in there.
Rock solid.
Producing.
I feel like you sabotaged my microphone.
I can't believe it was turned off.
What's really funny is that Bryn is so quiet.
They just
I literally just assumed it was her voice.
Oh my
Here I was
Like-
working so hard, and I was watching the little thing, and I was like, "Come on!"
She got there! She made it peak! She did it! Oh, I'm so proud of you.
This is a good moment for me. I need some Taco Bell. I deserve some Taco Bell for this momentous occasion.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, for like honestly a largely unannounced and kind of impromptu Kineticist overview stream. I've been wanting to look at this. Obviously, Manchaw's in the chat. You may know him from the Kineticist he played for basically literally all of Skull and Shackles. He was the only original character that made it all the way to the end. No, did we lose him?
He's in the chat. He can
He's
tell
gonna
us.
tell us.
I'm so
I'm trying to
excited.
remember. Did Octave make it to the end?
It's what?
This was Skull and Shackles. This was so long ago. This was like 8 years ago. I'm trying to fish back in my
Wait,
memory.
who is the king? Who is the
Oh, Zindern killed him. That's right. He,
He
didn't
died
make
in
it.
Cyclops' place.
That's right. Oh, he got cycloped.
You got X-Men?
You hate to see it.
Cyclops from X-Men killed him?
Kinda. So, I think it's still in second edition actually, but first edition Cyclopses had an ability where once a day, instead of rolling, they just pick the number they got. So when 2 of them walk up to Oktar and go 20, you alivent very quickly, and it's unfortunate for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Isle of Empty Eyes was a place, but I'm pretty sure that's not even what happened. I think he didn't get eaten. His wife got eaten by the floor monster, Flower Pot Demon. He got Cyclops bombed into another dimension while Shammy laid on the floor and pretended to be dead so they wouldn't beat him too.
Man, you heard it once, you heard it a million times.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this
Wife
exact
got
story.
eaten by a flower pot?
Well, it was the floor.
Piranha Plant
But
did?
then it kind of like went, and then it was sort of a pot. And
There's hungry floors in Pathfinder?
there's a lot of stuff in Pathfinder.
How many things are hungry in Pathfinder?
Well, I'm hungry and I play Pathfinder,
I'm
so at
hungry.
least one. Anyway.
We got that.
This was an outro. Thanks for coming, everybody. You're going to want to be back here Tuesday. Follow the channel if you aren't, because I believe it's going to be around 7 p.m. Eastern, which is probably 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm still not good at time zones. We are going to be premiering our first campaign, our first full-length, long-form campaign on the channel. It's going to be a super good time. I don't know how much, like, I'm not going to announce stuff for your guys' adventure. I don't know
if
how
you
much
look
you've
at-
shared.
If you look on Twitter, we've released character bios, characters that they look like, and the map of the world. And soon we'll release some kind of info on the campaign.
There's going to be a homebrew world brought to you by Lugo, the man who GM'd the Don't Say Vecna one shot on Tuesday.
And I'm going to be playing.
She is going to be in it.
Yes.
Bryn is coming back to the table. That Don't Say Vecna one shot was kind of, I think, like a canonical prelude to this adventure
that is. I don't
you
know
guys are doing.
where he is yet to confirm where in the timeline it is, if it's a prequel or an epilogue, but it is.
But this is a
canon to the
homebrew
story.
world from his mind, and it seems super awesome. And
Super
you are
cool.
definitely going to want to be in at the beginning to catch up with all of our introductions and our starts. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming.
We're going to go get Taco Bell. Enjoy what is left of your weekend,
Let's go.
everybody, and hopefully we will see you on Tuesday. Goodbye.
See you guys.